Yo, 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 what is good? 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 Oh man. All right. We loading up that press conference very, very soon. I got it up here. I'll have it on full volume so y'all can hear it as well. Shit, if they try to take the monetization from this video, so be it. I don't give a fuck. But hey, I am ready. How is everybody doing, man? Shout out to everybody already in here. We got Aaron in the chat. Was good. Wilford was good. Sean, what's up? Bobby, what's up? Who else we got in here? Brian, was good with you? Listen, man, I'm gonna have it up. Y'all gonna be able to hear it just like I'm gonna be able to hear it. All good, man. All good. This is good one right here though, because we are expected to as well. This is our GM, so this is going to be Ziegler speaking. But during this press conference, it's also expected to announce the hiring of a head coach. In this case, Josh McDaniels. Obviously, you want your GM to hire before your, other stuff happens. But hey, how is everybody doing, man? How is everybody doing? Oh, all right. Let's see. New era begins today. There you go, Sean. So, yes, like I said, not only is this a press conference of our GM, we are expected to announce today the hiring of Josh McDaniels, man. Let's see. We got Cali says Raiders. Yes, sir, man. I'm ready, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. So once we let go of these little spinning Raider logos, I'll have this shit up for you guys, and you guys will be able to hear it just like I will. So let's do it, man. Let's do it. We got Mark in the chat says, what up, what up, what up? What's good with you, my boy? What's good with the young bull? Shit, nothing much. Nothing much. Hey, man. What's good, bro? What's good, Quan? I'm ready. I'm ready. We gonna have it. I'm gonna have it up. You guys gonna be able to hear it just like I'm gonna be able to hear it. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. We got Mark Davis. We got Mark Davis. Let me know if it's too loud or other kind of stuff, okay? All right. Aloha, brother. Thanks for having this live video. Enjoyed the chat yesterday. I appreciate you, Michael. We got the 3 Super Bowl trophies. All right. All right.
I'd like to welcome everybody to today's press conference. We'll begin with some opening remarks from Las Vegas Raiders owner Mark Davis.
There we go. There we go.
How's everybody doing today? It's kind of loud. Turn this down a bit.
Y'all can hear it?
As y'all know, 2021 was quite a season for the Raiders.
Can y'all hear it?
Ups and downs. But in October, we got shook to the core when our head coach resigned 5 games into the season. And at that time, we had to make a quick decision on who was going to lead the Raider team that John and Mike Mayock had built for this season. And after careful consideration, we chose Rich Bisaccia, the special teams coach. Number one, because we felt it would be less distraction than taking, say, Gus Bradley from defense or maybe Tom Cable from offensive line. And despite the fact that we didn't get where we wanted to get to this year, and that's the Super Bowl this week, I'm so proud, and they should be so proud of the job that they did. With all the chaos, and I will call it chaos, going around the team, not only with the things that were going on off the field, but on the field as well, COVID and everything else, they truly went the Raider way. And I'm really so grateful to Rich Bisaccia and the rest of the coaching staff for what they did. When John resigned, we immediately went into another aspect, and that was to start checking into who we thought might be coaching candidates and potentially GM candidates, if that were going to be the case, if we're going to go that way. And we put together quite a list. And when the season ended, we decided we wouldn't start our process of interviewing until the playoffs were over for us. So once we finished our final game, we put together a committee which consisted of Dan Ventrelli, Tom Delaney, myself, and a fellow by the name of Ken Herrock, who was actually the ringleader of this. And we had about 12 people that we brought in. We initially started, the first person we interviewed was Rich Bisaccia. It was a 5-hour interview. It was fantastic. Rich was great. Then we went into doing general managers. And so we went through that process with Ken actually asking the questions, us listening, and then near the end of each interview, we would interject our questions as well. We think that the process was well done. It was extensive, exhaustive, and today I'd like to introduce the new general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders from, oh man, I'm losing it. Which college? John Carroll University. And that's Dave Ziegler. And if Dave would come up, I'd appreciate it.
Ziegler. That's how you say. You say Ziegler, not
Yeah,
Ziegler.
does deserve a hand, guys.
Okay. All right. How y'all feeling?
What I'd like to do right now is just have Dave let you know a little bit about himself.
Okay.
And we'll
Let's
go
listen.
from there.
Let's listen. All right. Volume good, y'all? Volume good?
Well, first, want to thank everyone for being here today and taking time out of your day, those in the room and those watching outside of the room. First, I want to thank Mark and the committee that was involved in the hiring process. It was a very thorough process, a detailed process, and I know they interviewed a lot of quality candidates. So it's really an honor for them to select me as the next general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders and to represent Raider Nation.
You got a silver and black tie.
Mark's passion for the Raiders, his commitment to my beliefs and what's important to me to make this organization a championship caliber organization, and his commitment to winning and his energy made this job highly desirable for me and my family.
Okay.
The stadium, the facilities, the weight room, the training room, the locker room, I could go on and on. It really is, it harkens back to a phrase made famous by the late Al Davis. There really is a commitment to excellence when you walk into this building and when you walk into this stadium.
I like that.
The phrase commitment to excellence resonates with many of my core beliefs and a lot of the foundational pieces that will be important to building a championship culture here.
Okay.
We'll be an organization that lives in the details. No task will be too small. Every task will be measured with the same standard of excellence. We will hire excellent people that are driven by team and that are loyal to our cause. We will strive to have high-end communication at all levels of the organization, which takes effort and takes time to build. We'll be demanding, but never demeaning. We'll invest in the growth of our employees and have them reach their goals. The fabric of our culture will be to evaluate and evolve consistently and constantly our processes and our people to make sure that we are always operating at a championship level. Being committed to the standard of excellence is going to occur from the top down, and it's what it will take to build this organization into an organization that consistently competes for championships. I would be remiss not to thank some people that helped me get here. As Mark mentioned, I attended John Carroll University, and I'll get to that. But first, I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for my wife, Carissa, and my kids, Asher, Georgina, and Camden. Carissa is the true GM of my family. If you know me and you know us, you know that she handles everything. She's extremely talented in her own right, and just a blessing to have in my life, and is really, again, is a major part of me being here today. My mom and dad, my brother and sister, who are probably trying to watch online somewhere, their love and support has always been constant and has always driven me to succeed. And also my extended family, who taught me the value of a strong work ethic and doing the right thing. My in-laws, Ron and Anita, Also have been very supportive as we've bounced around from Denver and moved multiple times over the last 10 years. They've always been by our side and have always been supportive of our vision. Quickly, my family in Talmadge, Ohio, which is where I was born and raised. I have a large support system in Talmadge. That's where you learn. That's where I learned to compete every day. It's a small town. It's a sports crazed town, and it was football, basketball, baseball. That's what you did. That's what your identity was about, and that's where I really learned to compete.
Humble beginnings.
Two coaches I have to recognize quickly: my head high school coach Jeff Ferguson and Randy Scava, who were two people that pushed me beyond limits that I thought I could push myself both physically many times, mentally and emotionally. And they were big parts of who I am today. The John Carroll community, which runs deep in the NFL and runs deep in many coaching circles from college to high school. The high standards and the commitment to serving others is something that I learned there, and is something that I take with me every day when I come into work. I must thank the Patriot organization, Robert, Jonathan Kraft, for their first-class treatment of me and my family. Of course, Bill Belichick, who has been a great teacher to me in all things football. And Nick Caserio, who I've known for a very long time, who brought me to New England, who taught me many of the ins and outs of the scouting system that I believe in today. In closing, it is an honor to represent Raider Nation in this historic franchise. And there will be one focus from here going forward. And simply put, it'll be to just win, baby. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I like that right there, man.
Thank you. Before we get into questions and everything, there's somebody else I'd like to introduce.
Okay.
And that's the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders from John Carroll University, Mr. Josh McDaniel.
Okay, there we go. So we have just announced GM and head coach Mike McDaniel, or Josh McDaniels. My fault. This is interesting right here, guys. I'm ready. It seems like he's about to speak.
Thank you to everybody for being here today, and for those of us that are not here and join us online, I appreciate you.
We got you, brother.
Being here. I'd like to begin by thanking Mr. Davis, Dan Ventrelli, the entire Raiders organization. It's been an incredible experience for me the last 3 or 4 days here, getting to know the people in the organization. It's been a thorough process. They've been very candid. I understand the vision that they have in mind. That's been clear from the beginning, what they're looking for. Seeing the stadium, the facility, and again, every person that I've met thus far, you can tell where this organization is headed, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm also excited to partner with Dave Ziegler, who is not only a friend of mine, but we go back a long way, and I have a great deal of respect for him, his ability to do the job that he's been hired to do here, evaluate, lead our personnel and scouting department. And he's a hard worker, tireless in his effort to do anything that he can to help the football team win. And I'm excited to join in our vision together. I would also like to thank the New England Patriots organization, Robert, Jonathan Kraft, Coach Belichick. 18 years. I was very fortunate to learn and grow in a world-class organization. Here I am today. My family, starting with Laura, my wife, she's my biggest supporter. She's the rock and head coach of our crew back home. My 4 kids, Jack, Maddie, Livy, and Nina, who are excited to join Raider Nation. They're obviously my biggest support system, and they've helped me chase my dreams and goals professionally, and it would be impossible without their support. My mom and dad, that's why I'm in this profession today. My father was a head football coach, high school football coach. He's a legend in Ohio. He didn't like me to say that, but I would be remiss if I didn't talk about that. And I've been going to practices since I was 4 or 5 years old, and my mother's, I tell her all the time, she's the best, mother of a player when I was growing up that I could ask for. She knew what a 3 technique was. She knew what punt protection was, and so we got an earful from her. But their support has been incredible in my life and certainly in my career. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the assistant coaches that I've worked with, the players that I've had the privilege to coach. I know that any advancement, personal advancement in this profession is only as the result of the collective efforts of everybody else. And certainly they're the big reason why I'm sitting here today, and I thank them.
Hopefully, Aaron, hopefully. The
last 10 to 12 years, I've really had an opportunity to grow as a person, as a coach, as a man, and try to figure out, after my experiences in Denver and St. Louis, who I am, how I wanted to be defined in my career, what I wanted to represent, and how I would lead the next time if I got another opportunity to be a head coach. And I've it's crystallized for me. I'm clear in the vision that I have for this role, for this job, for this team, and I'm going to be myself. And I think that's really important for me and our organization as we go forward. I'm the son of a football coach, and I don't apologize for that. I knew I wanted to do this since I was 4 or 5 years old, and I love everything about this game. I love the practices. I love the weight room. I love the film study. I love the winning and losing, even though nobody wants to lose. That's how you get better in this game. And all the challenges that are presented in terms of trying to reach your ultimate goal in this profession. All of those things are part of the process. And if you didn't love part of that process, it would be a problem. And I love to work hard. I'm going to be committed to the cause, which has been made very clear to me. I know it's clear to Dave. I value character, hard work, loyalty. Those are really important things to me. And I also think that it's really important, as I've grown and understand now how important it is to evolve, to innovate, to do new things, to try to figure out new ways for us to continue to try to be the best. A wise man once told me that when you're young, you try to accumulate and advance. And when you get older, you figure out that it's a lot more about serving and impacting others. And I think I've gone through both phases, and I learned a lot through my experiences. And now I'm excited to have that opportunity to consistently impact other people. And I'm competitive. And everything that I do and I'm involved in, I want to compete to try to be the best we can be. I think our team will show that day in and day out. I think that's the best way for us to reach our potential is to compete in every aspect of our organization. The mission here, Mr. Davis has made it very clear to me. We're committed to doing whatever it takes to win on and off the field. It's very important for us to be a pillar in the community, to do the right thing, to represent this organization, Raider Nation, the city of Las Vegas with class and integrity, and we'll do that. We're going to build a culture that is sustained by high character people that work hard to meet that championship standard in every area. We want a tough, smart football team that's explosive, that's important, that can adapt in today's NFL. I think that's really important. You can't beat every team the same way, and we're going to need to be adaptable.
Love that, bro. I love that.
The organization itself has, like I said, made such an impression on me in such a short time, and we're going to represent that organization the right way. There'll be one rope, and from Mr. Davis on down, we're going to pull it in the same direction. And we have one goal, and if we're all pulling in the same direction, we can accomplish a lot of great things. There will be a million moments that contribute to the success of this organization, and this will be the first one. To our players and fans, we're committed in our pursuit of excellence. Whatever we have to do to achieve our goals, we're going to put our head down. We're going to work hard. We're going to put great people in this building in every area. We're going to do what it takes for us to achieve, that vision. And in closing, I feel blessed to the people that have impacted me along the way, starting with my mom and dad. My family have played such an important role in me being here today. I've been patient. I've been selective, maybe to a fault sometimes. People wanted me to do things a little earlier than maybe I did them. But it was going to take a special place for me to really leave where I was. And I found that here in Las Vegas. Okay. And, I thank Mr. Davis again for having the faith in me to lead this team as the head coach. And I know that the greatness of the Raiders is in its future. And I can't wait to get started. So
I'm loving the vibe right now, man. I'm loving the vibe right now, man.
Before we get to questions, I just want to say one thing. When I met Josh,
how y'all feeling
on Saturday?
How y'all feeling?
We met in the hallway as we were passing. It was before the interview process was going to start.
Loving it.
And I said, hey, I introduced myself and everything. And he looked me in the eye and he said, there's one thing. It was a fumble. So Raider Nation, if you're worried, he's already come over to the dark side.
There you go. There you go. Let him know.
Guys, true story.
Let him know.
We'll open it up for questions. We have microphones on either aisle. Please state your name and affiliation. Go ahead, Vinny.
Vinny Buster here with Las Vegas Review-Journal. This is for Josh and Dave. You mentioned that you were patient, and there have been reports that over the years there have been overtures made, for you and to be head coaches elsewhere. What was it about this organization that made you say, okay, this is the one that I want to leave New England for?
Yeah. When you go through this process, like I said, I was very impressed with how exhausted they were, just in their evaluation of me and my fit and how I would fit into their vision. And then you come out and you spend time with them, you meet the people, you see that everything's done in a first-class manner. Their commitment to winning is easy to feel, to see. And to me, walking through this building and having a sense of the history and tradition of this organization and how much that impacts, the day-to-day here, it really hit me. This is one of those iconic places, and it's a historic organization that has unbelievable history and tradition, and it's in every hallway. And so I just, getting to know them, feeling their commitment, and understanding that really married up with what my vision would be for another opportunity. It was easy to make the choice.
Hey everyone, it's Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. This is just an open question. When it comes to personnel and roster construction, what's sort of the vision for how the decision-making process will happen between whether it's McDaniels or Ziegler?
Just to clarify, in terms of how we're going to make decisions.
Yes, in terms of just like transactional, drafting, roster construction, how's that decision-making process?
Sure. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, as the general manager and as the one leading the charge on the scouting side and personnel and college and pro, that direction will come from me. In terms of the construction of the roster, obviously we're Josh and I are tied in many ways in our vision of how to build a team and our vision of what we want in terms of the players that we bring into the building is very connected. But at the end of the day, when it's time to make decisions on personnel, while we'll work together, those final decisions will be made by me.
I like that. I love that.
Great Review Journal. Mark, I'll give Vinny's question to you now you talked about the process. Can you talk about when you came down to the decision of the two gentlemen you're sitting by, what stood out to you that made this decision for you?
Well, I've been watching Josh for many years for certain reasons other than maybe good ones at times. The success of the Patriots and watching them over the years, I've seen them do it with Tom Brady, of course, the greatest of all time. But I also saw the development of Tom Brady, the greatest of all time. And then I saw it with Matt Castle. I saw him be able to win with him and make Matt Castle the hottest free agent commodity in the market. Then I saw him do it this year with a rookie quarterback. I've just always seen the Patriots as a team that not only adapts from week to week or half to half, but maybe even series to series. I just believe in Josh's ability to assess the situation and make the changes in real time. And that's always been something that's impressed me. On the side of Dave, with their personnel and everything, it's a lot of no names that they do it with. And every now and then, they'll bring in a big name free agent, but he fits a spot. And that kind of reminded me of the old Raiders in that way, that we used to be able to do that. And I tease him because they took a player from us, a guy by the name of Randy Moss. And I told him, you got Randy Moss and you couldn't even win with him. And the funny part about that is they won 18 games, but they lost one. But I really just, again, in watching it and being around this sport for a long time and watching the excellence that was brought to the field by the Patriot organization, and knowing that Josh was a huge part of that, and talking to people that are also part of the Patriot organization that I know in my network of people, I got the feeling that this was the right guy.
Josh, Hondo Carpenter with Sports Illustrated. Most coaches, when they take over a team, it's in disaster mode. You get a double-digit fifth seed in the AFC West,
Yep.
But you also get a top 5 quarterback. How appealing was it for you to come to an organization with a quarterback like Derek Carr?
Top 5? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, Derek's won a lot of games in this league, and we've competed against each other a number of times, and I have a lot of respect for him. He certainly did a good job this year leading their offense, and I spoke with him yesterday. We had a great conversation. Looking forward to actually getting to meet him and get to know him as a person, as a human being, and then getting to work, in terms of developing our offense this year into what it's going to be. But there's no question that we have the capacity and capability of winning with Derek here. We all know that, and I look forward to the challenge of trying to grow not only Derek, but everybody on the roster to try to reach our potential. I never feel like a player, is a finished product, and our job as coaches is to continue to identify places where we might be able to get better and work hard to try to improve. And I know he's completely on board with that. Again, we had a great conversation, and I look forward to our relationship.
was good, James. I like
this
that
is
answer.
Chris Matthews from KLAS TV here in Vegas. Can I just ask both of you, Dave and Josh, what are maybe a couple of the key principles? You mentioned you're tied in many ways. Maybe a couple of the key principles that you bring from New England to Las Vegas with yourselves?
Wins.
Well, I would say some of the things that I hit on earlier when during my introduction are really some of the key principles in terms of, and I would say more like foundationally within the organization in terms of, the attention to detail, in terms of a high standard in everything that we do. And also, I'd say communication and collaboration and roster building together. And I think those are some key elements that are really important to our process. When it comes to players specifically, we always talk about, and it really is important and it's simple, but smart, tough, dependable, and players that love football. And, obviously there's a lot of different elements that you can also keep on top of that. But at the very core, those are the things that we're going to look at. Those are the things that are important to us. And those are some really foundational pieces for us when we look at this, this organization and building it how we want it to look.
It's, I mean, Dave said it perfectly, and it's hard to have a tough, smart football team that's explosive, that plays well under pressure, unless you're committed in every avenue of those are the type of people we're going to bring in and put on the team. And so it requires discipline to do that, and that's our vision for how we feel best about trying to win, and you're going to have to, there's a lot of commitment across the board in our organization to being able to field a team that represents those qualities and those characteristics.
And I would just add, before we move on, that when you're building a team, it's not just about acquiring talent. It's about acquiring talent and putting talent in the right spots, but it's also about building a roster from top to bottom that is competitive, that competes every day, that has depth. And those are also key elements that I think we've learned through our time in the league that really allows you to sustain and win during a long NFL season, and having the right people in the right spots in the right roles. And we're very role specific in how we look at things. Are a couple other key elements to what we believe in and how we're going to build it.
I was just saying this.
Levi Edwards, Raiders.com. This is kind of a two-parter. First, Coach McDaniels, you talked about how much you've evolved over time. If you could put a point on an aspect of your life, just on or off the field as a coach from your time in Denver, where would you say is probably the biggest thing that you've involved as, just personally, and also for you, Dave? How convenient is it to be able to work with a head coach as a general manager, someone that you are so familiar with building a team?
Yeah. When I went to Denver, I knew a little bit of football. I didn't really know people and how important that aspect of this process and maintaining the culture and building the team was. And I failed, and I didn't succeed at it. And so looking at that experience has been one of the best things in my life in terms of my overall growth as a person, as a coach. What do I need to do different? How do I need to handle my role if I have another opportunity and do better at it? And I feel like that's really an area that I've tried to grow in with our staff in New England. Our offensive staff working together, collaborating, supporting one another, impacting them, serving them, helping them grow as coaches, as players. With our guys, that we're coaching. So that's the biggest. I would say that's the biggest area for me, and I know how important it is as a head coach to be able to do that.
I like that, man.
This is Vic Tafer from The Athletic. Question for both Josh and Dave. In what ways did Bill Belichick shape you guys? What was the biggest impact he had as far as your guys' development to get to this point today?
I'll go.
I'll let you take that first.
Oh boy. There's a long list. Look, he's been. I'm as I mentioned, I'm blessed and fortunate to have had the experiences that I have. I started in personnel, back in 2001 when Laura made quite a bit more money than I was making, and just he made you develop in every area as a professional in this environment, and gave us the opportunity to see the scouting side, gave us the opportunity to work on I had the opportunity to work on defense, then flipped me over to the offensive side and had me, coach the quarterback, and kind of, I saw the game, in a lot of different perspectives. And I was able to, what I felt like was that's a really well-rounded approach as you're growing up in this game, to have some understanding of what is the grading system, what does it mean, how do they attack us on offense when you're on defense, and then flipping it over to the offensive side and understanding that, and then tying it all together with situational football and game management, which is obviously a critical component to winning every game in the NFL. I mean, you lose a lot more games than you win in this league, and if you can do some of those things really well, obviously that's going to impact your opportunity to win. So there's so many that I couldn't name them all, but I mean, he gave me an opportunity to be well-rounded coming out of the organization, and I'm very grateful for that.
I'd say for me, I could, have a laundry list of things, but I would say, the one thing that sticks out to me is that Bill taught me is Bill is a forward thinker. And it's not just about a decision in the moment. It's about how a decision can, one decision can impact four different things. One decision can impact what we're going to do in 2022, in 2023, and just to really have an understanding of how decisions can impact different parts of the organization and can impact your team. And I think the other thing that Bill it doesn't get talked about much, but and it goes along with the forward thinking piece is Bill is really dedicated to evaluating every single thing that we do at every point of the year and looking at it critically and then evolving and trying to figure out how are we going to get these things better, even if the end result was a Super Bowl, or even if the end result was a great trade or a great player acquisition, or whatever it may be. Every decision that we do here in all of our processes, as I mentioned, just to evaluate those things critically, what went well, what didn't go well, and how we can improve it. And I think that's critical to not staying stagnant and to always kind of making sure you're moving forward with the the best ideas and the best processes.
Sam Gordon, Las Vegas Review-Journal, right here. Gentlemen, welcome to Vegas. Dave, question for you. Like Hondo mentioned, this was a team that went 10-7 last year and made the playoffs. When you assess the roster, how close do you feel like it is to contending with some of the teams we saw this past weekend? And are there any particular points of emphasis as you get ready for your first draft and free agency with the Raiders?
Great question.
Yeah, I think, obviously the team did a good job. Right, they got into the playoffs, and there's a lot of talented players on this team. And I think Josh and I have talked about it. There's still a lot of I've evaluated the team to a degree, to the detail that I would normally do. I'm not there yet. So I think to be fair to the team and to the guys onto the team, I think there's still a self scout and an evaluation period that I have to go through with our staff here, with Josh, to really understand how all the pieces and the parts fit together. And I think once we go through that process and once we have that understanding, we'll have a much better idea of what our plan of attack is going to be going forward. Not that I'm going to announce that to the world, but we'll have that plan and we'll have that a concrete idea of what that is. And I think that's still going to take some time.
I had a question for Dave. Obviously, you have a scouting background, but you've worked a variety of jobs, between your time with the Broncos and the Patriots. What do you think you learned from wearing all those different hats, and how do you think that can help you now that you're stepping into this GM role?
Yeah, well, it's been a great experience in just terms of being well-rounded, and I would say even beyond football. Me and Mark talked about it. I was a high school teacher at one time, and I was a high school guidance counselor at one time, and I'd say all those experiences in terms of how to deal with different people, how to relate to different people, how to communicate at a high level, how to show empathy, how to problem solve. Like, I learned a lot of those lessons outside of football, and that have been really valuable to me. And then inside of football, starting with my time in Denver, as a pro scout, as a college scout, as a scouting assistant, picking people up from the airport, to putting cards on the board, and my time in New England, again on the college side and the pro side, and this year, I would say this past year, really being much more hands-on on a lot of aspects of the organization, being involved more on some of the contractual things that are involved in the organization, the salary cap and those types of things. So I just think like the more exposure you have, right, in any line of work, the more knowledge you have, and the more knowledge that you have, the better that you can perform your job. And so, all of those experiences have allowed me I would say to feel confident in my ability to run the scouting department, and I'll still have things to learn, and I'll learn things from the people that are here in this organization, and ideas that they have and processes that they have that maybe are better than some of the ideas that I have myself. And so that's how I would answer those questions. It's been I think it's been a unique ride for me to get to this point. But I think it all kind of came together to allow me to have some of the success that I've had.
Dave, along the lines of evaluation and assessing the roster, Derek Carr has said that he would like to retire as a Raider. He wants to be here a long time. He's got one more year left on his contract. Is that a box that you feel needs to get checked off ASAP, or does it go into next year? Or what are your thought process on that?
Yeah, I think like, and I know Josh talked to Derek. I had a great conversation with Derek myself yesterday.
Okay.
And, I think the one thing that we all understand is there's going to be a process of us learning Derek learning us, and fitting all those pieces together. And I think that's going to be step one, is building the relationship, understanding what Derek does well, Derek understanding what Josh and the offensive staff is trying to build. And I think as that collaboration goes, then you kind of see how everything fits together. And I think until you see how everything, you have to see how everything fits together, and kind of work from that point. And we're just really excited to have Derek here and to get to know him and get to know his strengths, and get to work with him in our system.
Okay.
Hey there, Cassie Soto with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. This one is for Mark. How important was it for you to find a duo who had previously worked together, had experience of how each other operate at the beginning of this search?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I first came in, the first hire I did was Reggie McKenzie as the general manager of the Raiders.
Okay.
And it was important to me because we really hadn't had a general manager since my father had been running the team. And I gave Reggie the ability to bring in his own head coach, which was the ability to have some type of working relationship. And that didn't work out so well at that time. I think it was because they were two young guys that were working together, but they really didn't have the experience to run a football team. Then we come to the next iteration was John and Mike Mayock. And they built the roster that's here today, but it was a rocky road. And so I felt in this time, we were going to do it a little bit differently and try to find a teammate. And therefore, in every interview that we did with a head coach, we asked him who he would think of as a general manager or general managers. And on the other side of the coin, we asked that to every general manager as well. Who would you think of as a head coach? And it was such an expanding learning process, hearing about all those things. But we felt that it was really important for them to have synergy. And I couldn't have found a better pair of people working together from John Carroll University than these two gentlemen.
We have time for just a few more guys. We'll go Adam, Hondo, and then Paul. Yeah, Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Along the same lines for both Dave and Josh, how important was it for you guys to find a place where you could work together, kind of put your stamp on a franchise and kind of put that vision into place of how you guys have kind of seen this over the years?
I think it's an important aspect of the team building process. It's not something that has to be, a long-term relationship. We've seen that work in the NFL where it hasn't been, but to me, it was important for me to have that, as somebody, have that person be somebody that I was familiar with, that understands, me as a person, as a coach, and just fortunate that this opportunity is presented to us. I mean, we don't have to teach one another the language, the scouting system, the things we're looking for in a player, the qualities and traits that we covet. Those are we already understand those. And so I think, albeit not necessarily a prerequisite, I think it's a huge plus for us and for our organization that we have that opportunity to kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, I would say the unique thing is it important? Like Josh said, I don't think it's a prerequisite, but there are some advantages to it. And I think, Josh and I's relationship goes back a long time, and our relationship has always been built on honesty and respect, and the ability to be each other's biggest teammate, and the ability to be each other's critic too, and to always come back to a place of respect, and always come back to a place where we're on the same page. And I think that's been the real beauty of our relationship as we've developed and as we've kind of advanced in the in our respective positions in the league.
Okay.
Josh, for you, please, is it your anticipation that you'll run a 4-3, a 3-4 on defense? What is it that you're comfortable with as the head coach?
Most of it is funny. Most of it today is actually built out of the nickel anyway. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot about 4-3, 3-4, 85% of the game is now sub defense, and so your decision making process might be a little different than it was 15 years ago when you were playing a lot more base defense. This team was built in the 4-3 mold. We'll make those considerations and determine how we want to go forward here as we kind of build the staff and move along with the team. But I think right now it's built in that mold. But like I said, most of these games you're playing a 4-man line and nickel defense anyway, and so that's almost become your base. And so the vision for us is going to need to be, what are our 5? There's 5 starting defensive backs now, and there's 2 linebackers and so on and so forth. So we'll do the due diligence as we hire our staff and then evaluate our team and decide what's best as we move forward.
Mark, Paul Gutierrez here from ESPN. In the decade plus since you've been running things, you've overseen a deconstruction, then the reconstruction. How would you describe what this is right now? Just totally going outside of the box, and like you mentioned earlier, finding the synergy, but going outside of the box as well.
Well, I think that John and Mike had built a foundation to build upon, and I think that's what we're doing now. And I think moving forward, that's what these two are going to be building upon, that foundation. We've got some great players in this organization right now. I believe there's a great culture in this organization right now, which is what they will find. They haven't seen that as much yet because they haven't seen all the players together. But that's something that Rich had built over the last 6 months, is a fantastic culture in this building. And I think that just now we're just moving to the next level. And that it's not a rebuild, it's not a reload. It's just taking this to the next level and getting to that Super Bowl. And
perfect.
Winning some championships.
You ain't rebuilding. You're just
all right.
adding.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our press conference. If the network TV affiliates want to come down for quick one-on-ones, please come to the front of the stage, and we'll get you guys taken care of. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. All right. All right. All right. That takes care of that. Let's talk about it now, man. Let's talk about it now, man. Okay. So look, we just heard the words from the 3 men themselves, Mark Davis, Josh McDaniels, and Dave Ziegler. I think he said it. Listen, man, he couldn't have finished it off any better. We're not rebuilding. We are just adding and taking it to the next level. Couldn't have said it any better. But listen, man, I was very, 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 I was just hoping that somebody asked that question. And shout out to, I think it was Paul Gutierrez who asked it. I was actually kind of shocked to hear McDaniels' answer. He knows that this defense was built for a 4-3. I'm very interested to see how we move forward. Maybe Gus Bradley stays. I highly doubt it. But for him to show that and for him to say that, right? This team built for a 4-3. It kind of shows me that he may be willing to have that continue be our defensive front as our base, right? But as he also said, about 80% of the game is now played in your nickel defense, right? So you got 2 safeties, 2 corners, and then he said that you need about a 5th corner, 5th DB. That's like a Jonathan Abram guy who's like a strong safety, can come down, play in the box. I'm kind of shocked. Now, could that mean that this could just be, what we've been saying? Could this be what we've been saying about a Gerard Mayo? We know Gerard Mayo runs a 4-3, he runs a 3-4, and he has his nickel. So you got Gerard Mayo who could be the perfect man for the job. You literally could have the perfect man for the job with Gerard Mayo. That man right there runs every style of defense. He has a 4-3 front, he has a 3-4 front, and obviously everybody has their nickel. Man, very, 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 very shocked to hear that from McDaniels. But overall, man, I was very, very impressed with how they spoke. I'm very, very happy that it seems like our GM is actually a GM. He's actually going to take care of player personnel, contracts, drafting. That's perfect. That is perfect. But going forward, man, and shout out to Mike Hawkins, says 4-2-5 nickel defense. That means Miles or Bradley. Personally, I would rather go with Miles, just a little bit younger, right? Maybe can implement a different kind of spice and that kind of stuff. But bro, very, very interesting. But like I said, the thing that really kind of was such a sense of relief was they straight up asked the question, hey, who's going to be working on the player personnel? Because we had Gruden who was fucking shit up. We had Mayock that couldn't really do his job. And right now, Dave, he said it straight up. I'm going to be handling the roster. I'm going to be handling the contracts. And of course, at the end of any decision made, we'll both take a look at it, but I'll have the final decision. I love that. I love that, man. I love that. I love that. I love that. Josh McDaniels, he kept using the word explosive because I'm sure that was Mark Davis. It was a selling point for Mark Davis. I'm very, very excited to see. Like I said, maybe Gerard Mayo is the perfect guy for this job. He has the defense. He has the defense for a full 3 mode. He has the defense for a 3-4 mode. He has his nickel. He has his nickel defense. This could be the perfect guy. It could be the perfect guy. Now on offense, of course he needs to hire. Of course he needs to hire an offensive coordinator. Defense, we need to hire a defensive coordinator. This is very interesting. But the Senior Bowl is this week. You have to have all hands on deck at the Senior Bowl, man. I've been saying this. Senior Bowl is very, very important. Very, very important. I would love to see another announcement soon, hopefully before Wednesday of a defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. Hopefully we get a new offensive line coach. I'm ready to go forward, man. I'm ready to go forward. That presser chat was toxic as fuck. Well, welcome to this chat, man, because it was about 80 of us in here and we were vibing, man. We were vibing, man. So I'm glad. Hit the like button, yes, sir. Scouts have to be there next week. They have to be there. Josh McDaniels, Ziegler, I'm happy with where this is going, man. And listen, the biggest thing about this, McDaniels owned up to his mistakes in Denver. He owned up to the fact that he didn't say that he didn't know what he was doing, but he didn't know more of the people. He knew about football. He didn't know the people. And guess what? He owned up. He let his mistakes go. And going forward, man, I'm ready. I'm ready, man. I am ready. And as far as Josh McDaniels bringing in an offensive coordinator, I see a lot of you guys saying Bill O'Brien. I wouldn't be surprised, but hopefully we can go a little bit younger than Bill O'Brien, in my opinion. You know, Josh McDaniels, only 45 years old, guys. Only 45 years old. So I'm extremely, extremely, extremely excited. I see some people here saying that Scout said that we were going to stay in a 4-3. I mean, I could see that happening. Did anybody ask about Indianapolis? I think it was Vinny. He hinted at that. And he kind of, played it off with a little bit that he wasn't really ready. There was some things that he didn't agree with, and he kind of just went back. So I like that he didn't really mention Indianapolis. I like that he didn't really mention the Colts, but he did, kind of show the fact that he wasn't ready for that job. He went back, he regrouped, he had another year under his belt, and he's here now. He had other opportunities. So it's interesting to see, man. It's very, 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 very interesting because look, the way that finished off, talking about your defense and talking about how we're not going to rebuild, we're just adding on and we're taking the next step. I felt like that was perfect. Man. But like I said, before Wednesday, I would love to see us find out who our next coordinators are going to be. We have to figure that out, man. It's looking like Rod Marinelli, our defensive line coach, is going to be headed out. Rich Versace is going to be headed out. Our wide receivers coach just is going out for an interview with Buffalo today or tomorrow, and I believe it's for their offensive coordinator opening. So there's a lot of moving pieces right now, guys, and we really need to get this going because I want us to go into the Senior Bowl knowing, okay, this is our head coach guy, goes with the offensive lineman. This is our defensive line coach, goes with the defensive lineman. Linebackers and DBs, go over there. Gerard Mayo, go over there. We need to have that set. So like I said, man, I really hope that in the next few days, hopefully today, but most likely tomorrow, Wednesday, we can get more news, more stuff to be picked up and talked about as far as a head coach. I mean, as far as the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, man, because the way he spoke, 4-3, he knows that we're built. That's how we've been built for the last couple of years with Marinelli, or not with Marinelli, with Gus Bradley, and a couple of years before that with Trash Boy Gunther. But he knows that that's how our mold for our defense is. Hopefully, we can bring in a guy like Mayo. That's honestly who I would want at this point. I know that the guy Sean Desai from the Bears is an option, but listen, man, I want us to go out, continue to get guys that they're comfortable with, that they know how things are run around here. I would love for Mayo to come in, implement that multiple style defense, where he has some 4-3 fronts, where he has his 3-4 fronts, as well as his nickel defense, man. So that's very, very, very interesting that McDaniels acknowledged the fact that we are built, our mode on defense is a 4-3. I'm excited though. I really do. At this point, I really do want us to get Gerard Mayo as our defensive coordinator. That'll be an A+ for me. That'll be an A+. If we can do that, that would be an A+, right? Because he talked about our new GM Ziegler talked about personnel, depth, that kind of stuff. And with Mayo, you look at our guys, right? We have the personnel and depth to run a multiple style defense, right? You have a Carl Nassib who can run a 3-4 defense. You have a Cleveland Ferrell who can run a 3-4 defense. If you re-sign, or if you go out and draft a couple guys, if you re-sign Filine, he can run a 3-4 defense as the nose tackle. You have Malcolm Kuntz that he is a stand-up rusher, in my opinion. He can run a 3-4 defense. Your linebackers, Diablo. Who else? You just got a bunch of people, man, and I'm very, very excited to see how we move forward with this. But really quick, I want to know all your guys' thoughts and opinions. And as we talk about that, my guy pulled up. How you doing, my boy?
What's good with it? What's good with it, Andy? How we doing, man?
What's good? Let's see. Let me see something real quick.
Can y'all hear me?
Let me see something real quick.
Yo, can you hear me?
And this is very, very interesting. What were your thoughts on the way that McDaniels spoke? What were your thoughts? Because I liked it. I liked it, but it does seem like we may be sticking with the with the 4-3 base.
Yeah, man. I feel like the pressure was reassuring.
It was.
I like what they had to say, admitting their faults if they have faults. I liked how he talked about the Broncos, saying, he didn't really know he just basically said he didn't know what he was doing. He failed. That's okay. You know what I mean? And he admitted it, and he said he learned from that, and that was reassuring for sure. And the fact that Ziegler comes out straight up, you feel me? Tashawn Reed asked the question, who's going to be making the decisions on the draft picks? And bro straight up said, look, we're going to work together. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be me. You feel me? Yeah. And that was that. I like that. I like how he straight up came out and just said, it's going to be me. At the end of the day, the final say is going to be me. And that's what I was afraid of. That's why I was so reassuring, because that's what I was afraid, that Josh McDaniels was going to bring in his guy, which would have been a yes man, and would have just answered to Josh McDaniels. That's what I was afraid of. So the fact that we was able to hear that from Ziegler, I feel like that was good.
Very reassuring, like you said, man. Definitely. I was kind of hoping, we if my chat in here, we only had about 80 motherfuckers in here, but they were all saying, ask about a coordinator, ask about DC, and each time somebody wrote that in the chat, the question came out. So I'm kind of glad that they kind of asked their questions, but some questions for the fans, I feel like, as well. We got some questions about Derek Carr. McDaniel straight up said that he has a lot of respect for Derek Carr. Derek Carr's won a lot of games in this league.
Yeah.
To me, sounds like that's a good relationship. I'm glad him and Ziegler have already had conversations. But definitely, I feel like we need to hit this ground running. We need to get an OC. We need to get a DC because Senior Bowl is this weekend, dog. We need to have everybody at the Senior Bowl. We need to have everybody at the Senior Bowl.
Most definitely. As far as the OC, wasn't too worried about it because I feel like we already know who's going to make the calls, right?
Right.
But when it comes to the defensive coordinator, like you say, man, we got to hurry up and grab them because crucial times are coming. Got to evaluate this team. And how can you really evaluate the team without a defensive coordinator? You can evaluate the offensive side technically right now, but you can't really evaluate the team in the defense unless you have that defensive coordinator. Because at the end of the day, we know he's going to be the one to say, I like that guy. He will fit this, or if they want, So that's why that's another reason we definitely got to find our defensive coordinator. But I definitely feel like they have a guy in mind, their guy in mind. So I think if we're patient, man, we might have a cool DC. You know what I mean? We might have a cool defensive coordinator.
Yeah, in my opinion, I feel like with the way that he spoke and said that he understands that our defense is already built for a 4-3, and then he kind of reflected and said that basically 80% of the league is going to have to play in your nickel defense anyways. It sounds like having a defensive coordinator that can run multiple fronts is where we need to be. Obviously, that's not Gus Bradley. He stays in one front. That's just the way that I heard it. It could be heard a different way, but that's how I heard it. And like I said, after hearing that, in my opinion, Jarrett Mayo may not be the guy for a lot of people here, but I like him. I like him. Yeah. Linebackers coach for the Patriots, and we know the Patriots, they run that multiple style defense. They can go in a 3-4 front. They can go in a 4-3 front. And listen, he already knows them. Like McDaniels already knows Mayo. Ziegler already knows Mayo. We saw this last year. We saw Ron Miles come in. We saw a linebacker coach come in that had already been together. So we know that wherever new guys goes, they're going to bring their guys with them. And I feel like we need to continue to do that this year. But shout out to Felipe. He says, all right, we're on the clock. Who are we drafting? God damn, man. It's tough because without that defensive coordinator, you don't know where you're going to draft.
Yep.
Yep. Because there's me personally, I feel like if you switch to Mayo, you got to go out and get Jordan Davis in the first round. Maybe a lot of people don't think Jordan Davis is a first round talent, that he may not have the win to play all first, second, and third downs. And I would agree with you guys, but at the same time, you need a guy that can plug that zero tech right in front of the center. You need a guy that's going to bully a center, and that's what he would do, right? But man, very, very interested to see. I'm glad that presser started on time too, actually at 2 p.m.
Yeah, for real. But, I mean, it was an important one, so I feel like they had to be on a time crunch. You be getting them pressures in between the game. You sitting there for 45 minutes, 30 minutes before it even starts.
And yeah, that exactly, that's true. Shout out to LV Max. He says, love the way he said, let's look at personnel before deciding a style of defense. Yeah, I mean, you look at our guys. I mean, Yannick and his presser after coming here last year, he just let it be known that he didn't fit in a 3-4. Like, he straight up kind of just, I wasn't productive. It didn't fit me, so it is what it is. But if you get a guy that can run a multiple style defense, there's not many coordinators in the league that do that. But if you can get a guy that can, on third down, maybe second and long, throws in a 4-3 front or just simple nickel defense, that'll still fit Yannick. That'll still fit Max. But if you want to get aggressive on first down against teams like Cleveland, against teams like the 49ers that will play next year, that we know run that football, you do want to have 5 guys on that line of scrimmage. And that's what a 3-4 defense, allows you to do. So me personally, Jared Mayo, that'd be my guy. That would be my guy. But
would you want him over Brian Flores?
No, but I just don't think Brian Flores would actually come here.
Yeah, I hear you.
I feel like he'll get some more looks somewhere else.
That's like that's like the dreamy pick.
Oh, that's a grand slam.
Yeah, that's a dreamy. Yeah, exactly. No, I hear you, man. I think I agree with you. It's like the dreamy pick. I definitely agree. And then with Mayo, I agree with that.
I think Mayo's a home run, other bro is a grand slam. You feel me? You get 3 runs, you get all people that's on base to score. But the other one, like, you still do good. You still get, it's what I would like.
Yeah,
But yeah, Brian Flores, I feel like would keep all of our defensive guys in check. That stern voice that would kind of put these guys in place. That I don't know, so we don't have so many fucking dumb decisions made outside of the football field. I feel like Brian Flores would definitely have that. He'll have that foot down kind of aura to him. But I would love Mayo. But at the same time, Flores I think would be everybody's pick. But I think he'll get a shot somewhere else. That's what I think.
Yeah. The thing is though, if he doesn't get a shot, man, I think we get him. I honestly do. Yeah, I honestly do, because why not? You know what I mean? He knows these dudes. He knows he's worked with them, and would he go back to the Patriots? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. So,
well, he could go back to the Patriots just because if we get Mayo, there could be a vacant job over there. He could go back there, but
Well,
you're right.
Mayo's their linebacker coach.
He's their linebacker coach. We know that Brady's the one that's like, not Brady. Belichick's the one really doing. But I would love to get Flores. But at the same time, Mayo would be my realistic pick. Flores would be, the guy that everybody would want. I feel like you would literally hit a home freaking or a grand slam if you go out and you get a Josh McDaniels that clearly boosts your screen game, your running game. It maximizes growth for Foster. And obviously, I mean, fucking Mac Jones is a Pro Bowler because of this guy. Like, that's crazy to me. But who knows? Man? This honestly could be very, 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 very good for our future, man. And we got just about 400 people in here. So please go check out my guy, Raid the Tapes channel. Always pumping out great content over there, man. So check him out.
Appreciate you, man.
Check him out. Cars McDaniels guy.
Hey, what'd you think about his Hondo's so funny, bro. Hondo Carpenter's so funny. The way he slid that Derek Carr top 5 comment in the question. I'm like, bro, I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of lightweight cringeworthy. I'm like, bro, don't do that.
Dude, I think when I was in here, I was like, top 5. Okay.
I was like, don't do that, man.
Okay. But it would have been more funny if McDaniels would have threw like a little face on there, like, what? That would have been more funny. But hey, I'm just glad that he's they're already in talks with our quarterback. I really want us to see what we can do, man. DC seems like he's gonna be our guy. I really would doubt otherwise. It's like there's no reason to do it.
We know Josh McDaniels worked with him.
Exactly. So it's like, I mean, if you can take a guy like freaking Mac Jones to the Pro Bowl and have him in the playoffs, what can you do with Derek Carr? Derek Carr had over 1,000 more yards than him. Yeah. So there's that as well. And shout out to my guy Michael says MD burned his bridge saying it was a fumble. Hey, I was like, okay. I mean, that's a good way to break the ice right there.
Yeah, most definitely.
Good way to break the ice.
It would, but one thing that does worry me, bro, is knowing the Patriots. They always have a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, how much of their defense contributed? You know what I mean, to their offense being able to be the way they are. You know what I mean? Considering the fact, you take into consideration, Mac Jones had a good year, but Mac Jones, we know he's not that explosive quarterback. So he was able to kind of just chill, you know what I mean? Get fed off the run with a good defense because they run well all the time. Josh McDaniels, he should be able to get our run game back going, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So
easily.
I just wonder how much of their defense contributed to their offense being, you know what I mean, good, you know? So hopefully we're able to step up our defense most definitely. And, and our offense looks just as good and it transitions, right?
Well,
shout out Hammer House, man. Shout out Hammer House.
Facts. Shout out to my boy Hammer, another great YouTube content creator, always pumping out Raider content. So same thing, man. Y'all want more Raider content? Check out my boy Hammer's Heights. He says, great show as always. Let's get to work. Just win, baby. There you go. There you go. But look, here's what I was going to say. I feel like that defense contributed 1,000% to Mac Jones just being in the Pro Bowl this year, you know, but I mean, you got guys on that defense like J.C. Jackson who got 10 interceptions this year. Like, what the hell, you know? And then you got Matthew Judon who's
that was
sacking everything that moves.
That was a big signing though by maybe not technically, but practically by Ziegler, right?
Yeah, so. Ziegler. Yeah, I mean, he had a very successful offseason, right? One of the most successful offseasons that the Patriots have had in years. I know we exchanged a couple of texts just looking at their freaking past drafts, and we're like, dog, this is trash. Yep. But you know, Ziegler had a very, very good successful offseason with them. And with that being said, man, you know, you have guys like J.C. Jackson who are free agents. You have guys like Stephon Gilmore, who's a free agent. Mm-hmm. I doubt that Gilmore would walk because they just traded for him, but who knows? But at the same time, if you extend a guy like Derek Carr, you're freeing up so much money that can allow you to pay for a guy like J.C. Jackson, you know? So who knows? Who knows? I feel like a lot of our cap, though, I want to see if how much of our cap goes towards our offense and how much of our draft goes towards our defense, you know, because it seemed like they were pretty lopsided. You know, they brought in Aguilar, they brought in Hunter Henry, they brought in what was his name, Jonnu Smith. So they overloaded on offense, and then they went heavy defense. You know, they traded up for Christian Barmore, and then I believe they got a Ronnie Perkins in the third round. Yep. So they you know, they were lopsided. Free agent, they went all offense. Draft, they went all.
They did pay Judon, like you said. Yeah. They did pay Judon.
And they paid Judon. That's true.
But like you said, more. It seemed like a lot went towards defense, like you said. They traded up just to get a defensive guy after getting their quarterback. So it seemed like all they want to do is get their quarterback in the draft, like you said, and move on to the defense. And in free agency, they got one big guy on defense, and then the rest was offense. So it does seem like they had an idea behind that. That was a good point.
And personally, I feel like if you look at our offense, our weapons, I feel like we have better weapons. You know, I feel like Josh Jacobs is a better running back when healthy. Kenyon Drake is you don't even have to explain his ability in the screen game as a running back. He's very, very good. Hunter Renfrow, Pro Bowler. Darren Waller, Pro Bowler. Derek Carr, Pro Bowler at one point in his career, right? You just need to find two guys on the outside that can be stable, right? Yep. Brian Edwards, a lot of people are hoping that he can have a lot of success under McDaniels, but at the same time, I mean, Jacoby Myers was their number one the last 2 years, and Jacoby Myers, in my opinion, is a completely different receiver than Edwards. You know, Edwards is that possession and red zone guy, but at the same time, they were very efficient in the red zone. So who knows? Like, who knows, right? But it'll be very, very interesting to see what we have coming forward. I feel like you still need to find a new offensive line coach. Hopefully, he can bring one over because, you know, you trade away 3 starting offensive linemen and then your offense is horrible. Your offensive line is horrible for 12 games of the season, and then you got to win 4 straight just to get in, you know? So it's like we got to put ourselves in a better position at that point. But I feel like with Josh McDaniels, I feel like an extension for Derek Carr is just gets more and more real. Yeah. Personally, because I mean,
well, what's interesting is Ziegler actually didn't really say, right? He didn't say, "Oh yeah, we're going to extend him," or "Yeah,
right." Because
great quarterback. Yeah, it's almost it reminds me of when we got Gruden in Mayock, and they would say like, "Oh, we're still doing our due diligence," or stuff. So, not so much they're not getting rid of him, but they also want to just say they're going to keep him, right?
Right.
And I think it's the same thing. Kind of, they were beating around the bush with this question. Per se, and they would say we want to evaluate them like the rest of the team and just categorize them with the rest of the team. So I like the fact that they did that.
Yeah, I feel like with Derek Carr though, who knows how true the rumors are that these two guys just last season. We're talking about Ziegler and McDaniels. These two guys that are now our head coach and GM wanted to trade for Derek Carr. So if you want to trade for Carr, it's because you know that he has something that you want. Yep. And now you don't trade for him because now that's your quarterback. So if that's true, you can potentially free up a lot of money, and you can get really, really active in free agency, and you can really have a good your market can expand so much with more money, right? I mean, there's guys like Teron Armstead, superstar tackle. Obviously, he's a left tackle, but there's that. And then there's people talking about it. Trent Brown. I don't know. I don't know about that one, man. But
I don't know if we can do that again.
Yeah, we'll see though. But I'm excited. I am because
I'm excited mainly because I feel like they know
over.
people. I feel like that of course, but I feel like this staff knows people.
Yes.
In our last staff, they didn't really know people outside of Gus Bradley. And we've seen what Gus Bradley was able to do in one season just by knowing people, right? He knew Casey Hayward, Denzel Perriman, Teamer, Faison, Yannick Ngakoue, Quentin Jefferson. The list goes on, right?
Yeah, everybody.
He knew all these players. And he was able to bring them in, and they were able to be productive. Quentin Jefferson was productive. Darius Philon, very productive. Casey Hayward, our best corner. I mean,
didn't allow
this is what happens when you bring in a staff that knows people. And I feel like they'll be able to bring in good quality players just because they either know somebody that knows somebody.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this staff right here knows people. I mean, you look at a divisional rival, and Chris Harris Jr. was praising us for this pickup of Ziegler, however you say this guy's name. But you don't really see that often. A divisional rival praising another opponent on what they're doing in their offseason is kind of a little weird. But yeah, I mean, Gus got his guys. Now, Gerard Mayo or whoever the hell it'll be. But if you just look at the offense side of the ball, just because of McDaniels, you're automatically linked to a guy like Gronkowski, which you don't need a Gronkowski, but just because of McDaniels, you're already linked to a tight end that we know is extremely productive when the ball is in his hand. And then just because of McDaniels, you're expecting guys like Josh Jacobs, his production to go up. Hunter Renfrow, you're looking at this guy. He may be a freaking all-pro receiver next year because of how they run their offense. And Foster Moreau is expected to gain a lot of reps this season that's coming.
And you know how New England does with them white boy receivers, bro. They're just growing up, bro. Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, Danny Amendola. The list goes on. I mean, Rob Gronkowski is another. He's a tight end though. But I mean, Hunter Renfrow, he got to be happy. He got to be happy. You know, he gonna go for 2,000.
he's
gonna go for 2,000.
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. But I mean, there's a lot to like. You know, there's a lot of people that still are kind of a little bit iffy because of his past. But I like how he straight up just mentioned it. Like, bro, I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of people when I was in Denver. Like, I liked how he mentioned that. He straight up owned up that the past is the past, dog. He went back to New England, and then they kind of hinted at what happened a couple of years ago or just last year with Indianapolis. And he kind of, he kind of beat around the bush a little bit and said, certain things were done. Maybe I didn't agree with it. I went back, I regrouped, I went with the Patriots again one more year, and now I'm here, right? So that I feel like that was perfect, right? And maybe that for some people that wasn't convincing enough that don't like him as a person, but hey, man, this is our coach now, whether we like it or not. So why not just look at the positives that come with it instead of looking at some negatives that happened over a decade ago, Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. That happened so long ago. If you were to go back 10 years in my life, oh boy, you know what I mean? So
I was fucking 8 years old.
I mean, look what just happened to our head coach. He resigned because of some shit that happened
10 years ago. Exactly.
Like we got room to talk.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, but if we go back, I feel like with how it finished off with Josh McDaniels and how he mentioned that our defensive mode is a 4-3 mode, I kind of think that excludes Sean Desai, the coordinator from the Bears, because he's almost exclusively 3-4. Like, so I feel like that kind of maybe deads that. I feel like Brian Flores, I think he also ran a multiple system. I'm not too sure though. But Mayo, I think that boosts his stock a bit. A lot of people were talking about Wink Martindale. I'm not sure if he can run a multiple style defense, but that's definitely something to look into now. Who can run that multiple style defense? Because off of what he stated, it's looking like he doesn't want to change it completely because he knows of our mode is already 4-3. So who knows? Maybe Wink Martindale can run a little bit of both. Maybe Flores can run a little bit of both, but all I know is that Flores had a dominant defense. Gerard Mayo had a dominant defense. Sean Desai had a dominant defense. So whoever we're getting will be an upgrade to Gus Bradley. So
yeah, most definitely. It's just funny how the news, like, they just didn't come out and say Gus Bradley's not the defensive coordinator. Like, they didn't fire him. He didn't resign. I haven't really heard too much about that.
It's like, okay, so Greg Olson's still our coordinator.
Yeah, exactly. Tom Cable, offensive line.
Yeah.
But as far as the defense, man, I think we just got to be excited that we're going to see some changes and that we may potentially try to see more of a lockdown man coverage type game. I feel like that's kind of what I've seen and kind of known as far as the New England Patriots. They're able to lock down and strap up on a receiver. So I'm excited to see that from the Raiders again, bro.
Me too, and I feel like that boosts up Trayvon Mullen and Merrick so much.
Yep.
Trayvon Mullen with Paul Gunther, the first 4 weeks of 2020 was ranked the #1 corner in the NFL in press man coverage for 4 weeks, for a month. We're saying above guys like Gilmore, J.C. Jackson, Marlon Humphrey, all these guys. We're saying that Trayvon Mullen was the #1 corner for a month, almost a month and a half in the NFL because of a press man coverage scheme. Merrick out of TCU was getting pass breakup after pass breakup. He won awards. He won the best defensive back award because of that style of defense. And just to know that we're going to get that back, maybe this means Casey Hayward's gone, because I don't think Casey Hayward still has that twitch to be man on man.
Yeah,
zone, perfect. Yeah, zone defense, great, because it's more just reading and reacting, not really having to run stride for stride with a Tyreek Hill. He can kind of give himself 8 yards and then kind of run from there. But one-on-one, this I feel like Trayvon Mullen, a guy who I did not like in this scheme, he just didn't look natural to me, could have a great season. Nate Hobbs could have a great season because of this. I mean, Nate Hobbs in the slot, he can already be dominant.
The thing with Nate Hobbs that's just iffy is I think he fit Gus Bradley's scheme real well, and I think that's why he did so well. So that's why I'm not saying he's going to fall off or anything, but I definitely would like to see him in a different scheme outside of Gus Bradley, because one, he's a rookie. Two, this is the only scheme he's ran, and it's not a man, right? It's not a man scheme. So you put him in a man scheme, and let's see if anything happens, if he gets picked on, if he gets exposed in any way.
Well,
with that pressure.
I feel like something good about Gunther's or Gus Bradley's defense was it allowed those guys that really wouldn't have production elsewhere to have production, right? Like Keyshawn Nixon, he somehow showed that in the slot he could have a future in this defense, right? As a rotational piece, right? And we were looking at Keyshawn Nixon undrafted, and we were like, why the hell is he still on this team? Because he just shouldn't have been there anymore. But I agree. I feel like a lot of guys, Denzel Perryman comes back to this scheme and he just 150 tackles, Divine Diablo just comes in and is now better than a $13 million player in Corey Littleton. I definitely feel like that defense helped a lot of guys who really maybe wouldn't have had as productive years in somewhere else produce and flash. But at the same time, it didn't allow those superstar guy like Merrick to be inside of plays more, because it kind of had Merrick just all the way backed up, kind of excluded, just making sure nothing goes behind you. And I understand, because you're expecting your front four to get sacks on every single play. But, we saw sometimes our defensive line was lights out, and then sometimes, it got tired, and we need to send an extra man. And maybe whoever this new defensive coordinator is can really show that Abram is a good blitzer. Because I feel like Abram has a lot of success when he's rushing that passer, because he's so reckless. And you would rather a guy be reckless in between the tackles and guards than you would in coverage, right?
Yep.
And I would much rather have him thinking that it's, a bowling alley and just trying to bulldoze through a bunch of linemen to get to a quarterback than having to play one-on-one man coverage with Evan Ingram and get mossed for a touchdown,
Yep.
So it's like it's very, very interesting, man. And shout out to Jarrett here. He says we have to move on from Trayvon Mullen. I feel like in last year's scheme, in a zone predominant scheme, I would have said yes, but he has one more year on this deal, and it's a contract year, so you can see a lot of production out of Trayvon Mullen just because of those two factors right there. It's a contract year; he's gonna want to get paid again, and it's a scheme that should go back to his strengths.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm just most interested in Abram, like you had brought up, because where would he fit in this system? We know he's not going to be out there in man coverage. That would be crucial to the defense, and I would definitely want to see him run the line. But how does he stick around? How does he fit that Patriots defense? If we bring in the Patriots type defensive coordinator, of course, which we're assuming. So I'd be definitely interested to see how Abram fits the new scheme, man.
Yeah, me too. And same with Malcolm Kuntz. I feel like Malcolm Kuntz, he produced in a scheme that I felt like he wasn't really fit for, like his hand was in the dirt. I don't think that he's a hand in the dirt type of defensive lineman. But if you switch him to an outside linebacker and really have him rushing the passer with space on the edge, I feel like he could be very dominant. All that
fit a 3-4.
Yeah, without a doubt.
3-4. Yeah. In Buffalo, he was standing up on the edge a lot. He would even drop back in coverage. He put his hand in the dirt. He did everything in Buffalo pretty much from what I've seen. And I think he's versatile, man. He could do whatever. So Kuntz is someone we got to be excited about too.
Yeah, Malcolm Kuntz is very, very exciting to me with the production. I mean, he had 2.5 sacks and 3 starts or whatever, 4 starts. I felt like that was very good production. At the same time, something that we all said that he needed to work on was his strength. Those 13 weeks that he didn't play and worked on his strength really showed, because it looked like his best pass rush move was not even a pass rush move. It was just straight that one arm, I'm gonna bully you.
Yeah, that long arm technique, man. That was that and people used to say Khalil Mack would do that. That was Khalil Mack's pretty much signature, man. And him coming out of Buffalo doing that was pretty. That's why people would always want to compare him.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how Kuntz does in our next system. It looks like it'll be a little combination of both, but as well as a guy that many people in the Raider Nation have written off, Corey Littleton. I feel like he can. I wouldn't say return to all pro form, but he'll definitely have a lot more success if he is to stay here, than what he was doing in a 4-3. His 4-3, it was kind of like, okay, he's pretty smart. He can pick up on crossing routes, but he's not really much of a downhill linebacker. You're not really going to use him in that form. He's not really the greatest blitzer, so it's like, okay, well, what are we going to do with him? But now in a 3-4, I mean, you've seen this man getting pick sixes with the Rams, so it's like, okay, well, we can see what we can do from there. And this is kind of back to my point about Gus Bradley's defense, like kind of letting guys that shouldn't really shine, like Faison. This dude came out of nowhere, got a pick his first game, and we're like, okay, well, here we go.
And to that, it's the scheme. He's been in the scheme. He knows the scheme, and he's played in it. Mullen hasn't. You know what I mean? So that's why Faison was able to be a plug-and-play type player. Same thing with Roderick Teamer. I mean, we already named all the players that came over because of Gus Bradley. So they already knew the system. They already knew what to do. Trayvon Mullen, that's not even part of his DNA to be running in that scheme. You know what I mean? You got to just put them in. You just put him in man coverage. You know what I mean? Maybe cover 4 every now and then, a cover 2, but don't have him out there always running a zone the whole time. Put that man in some press coverage and tee off with your defensive ends and get to the quarterback.
Yep. And I feel like, for me, Matt Eberflus was my guy. That was my number one guy. I really wanted him. But at the same time, when you're looking at a potential hire that runs a 3-4 defense, you're gonna be in that split safety shell a lot. You can disguise so much out of a split safety shell. Like, you can disguise a lot. You can run a cover 3 still. You can run a cover 4. You can run a cover 6. You can run a cover 2, because everything there is already put in place just because you're already in that split high safety look. Now, it's a little bit more for a quarterback to have to realize that, oh crap, they just dropped down into a cover 3, but they started off the snap with 2 safeties over the top,
Yeah.
And then let's say you're in a game like you got to play the Chiefs where you're in cover 4 a lot, because you don't want to give up that deep shot to Hill. And then out of nowhere, you change that cover 4 into a cover 6. So on this side, you got a zone, you got a flat, and on the other side, you got your DB going deep. So it's a lot of stuff that can be done out of the 3-4 with a split high safety set. That's why I wanted Eberflus so bad, because he runs a 4-3 and a cover 3-ish, but he runs it with 2 safeties over the top. So I like that, man. I like that a lot. That's why I liked him so much. And he's just had a lot of.
I wanted Eberflus too.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I wanted him too, and then the Bears got him. I believe the Bears got him. So I was like, man, that was one of the candidates I liked, because in my opinion, I feel like the Colts defense was good because of him. I didn't really think they had any crazy good draft picks or free agents. I just think their defensive coach was just being being competent and able to build a good scheme. So
I agree, because outside of Leonard Davis, Kenny Moore, and DeForest Buckner, their edge rushers weren't really doing much. They didn't have much production. Their other linebackers, they produced, but you're like, okay, well, who the hell is this practice squad guy just coming in?
Only people you can name is those 3 really. The linebacker, they got like Okereke. It's like who's I know who Okereke is, but it's not like he's anything dominant. They've been having safety problems, but they still been able to figure it out. So I like Eberflus. I think the Bears got a good coach over there,
but they're kind of in like a weird one, because they're like, well, we wanted an offensive guy for Fields, but fuck the Bears. Shout out to Jared again. He says, do we draft a DT or DT and Davis, or wide receiver and Treylon Burks? I think Treylon Burks won't be there. I feel like Jordan Davis, if you switch into a 3-4, you have to. I think you have to.
Yeah, I don't think Jordan Davis will be there either.
You don't think he'll be there at 22? I think he will.
I don't know if he'll be there, just based off the fact that there's not. Just looking at the draft, it doesn't seem like there's many defensive tackles.
Yeah, there isn't, but at the same time, I think that all the teams above us have bigger needs. You could see maybe a team in the later stage maybe try and trade up and jump in front of us and try and do it, but I think he'll be there. I think he'll be there. And shout out to Easty with the little super chat, didn't even say nothing. Shout out to you, my boy, appreciate it. And we got Medwin in here. He says, I didn't hear anything promising in Carr's future. I also didn't hear anything that wasn't promising about his future. So it's like, there wasn't anything outstanding, but there also wasn't anything bad.
Yeah. So I didn't hear anything that made me believe that they were going to get rid of Derek Carr. Unless something crazy dramatic happens and we were able to get maybe some picks and we could get a quarterback in 2023, but that's such drastic. You start talking about a fallacy at that point. You just start making stuff up. So I didn't hear anything in the presser that doubted me that Carr is going to be the quarterback.
Oh, well, I see a lot of people in here mentioning that the Chargers may take Jordan Davis, and that's a big possibility, actually. With Linval Joseph being a free agent. That'll be very. That's a strong possibility. But at the same time,
Alex Marquez has traded a 3rd or a 4th for Brandon Williams from Baltimore, and that's kind of my idea as far as the defensive tackle is just go get a veteran guy. I feel like we sleep on those late round draft picks to get a veteran defensive lineman. And I bring this up all the time, but Calais Campbell last year, it's like, why didn't we get him? Why didn't we get Calais Campbell for those draft picks? he would have been a beast in between Max and Yannick with Calais Campbell. Like, come on.
And he was with Gus in Jacksonville. Like,
yeah. So he would have ate. So I would definitely love to go get a defensive tackle that's a veteran, like a Grady Jarrett. I always bring him up from the Falcons. I don't know how that would look, but
you have to trade for him and take his contract is up there.
It's up there. Is it still up there?
I'm pretty sure it's over like 12.
Okay. I mean, he's a pretty competent D tackle. I feel like he's proven, and he's a veteran. But
I think that definitely if our mindset is to draft Davis in the first round, I'd be better off trading that first round pick for somebody that's already proved himself.
Exactly. That's kind of my point. Not only that, what other defensive tackles would you really get in the first outside of Davis and Leo?
I think that's the only one.
I think it's Davis and Leo. Out of Mississippi, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the only. It's like, Davis is kind of the only one. Maybe two. So it's like,
it's not like years ago where you saw Quinn Williams going top
exactly,
3.
Bro, and you just know you're gonna get a dominant guy.
I would trade.
I would have
Quinn Williams.
Would you rather have a Barmore or Davis?
It depends what scheme you're in.
I say the 4-3.
Barmore,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. Like, I would have rather just grabbed Barmore last year. Like, what the heck? We got Leatherwood,
but he only had 1.5 sacks though.
Like, let's not do it on the pass. But
and then here we got Luis. He says, "What defense would you guys like to see? 3-4 or 4-3? And what are your thoughts on both defensive schemes?" Well, my first option was Eberflus. I would have rather stay in the 4-3. But it's looking like it'll be a 3-4. And I mean, I don't really have a difference in opinions as long as we have a good guy coaching it up, So.
I definitely want 4-3. Like, there's no question about it. Just based off the simple fact that that's what our team has. That's what it's set up for. Like, our corners, like, not our corners, but our cornerstones on the defense are built to be in a 4-3.
Yep.
You got to think about it. Max and Yannick, those two right there are basically the pillars of the defense, in my opinion. Max and Yannick. You're not going to run a 3-4 with Max and Yannick. I'm sorry, but you're not going to put Max in at an end spot in a 3-4. It just don't. Come on, like,
because think of it, you guys. In a 3-4, you're asking you're asking Max to play the same role as an Akeem Hicks. It's not working.
Great. I'm glad he put it that way. You see, it just don't make sense. Those two names don't even go together. Akeem Hicks and Max Crosby.
They're completely different.
Completely different, bro. So
and as well, guys, is you also have to look at the fact that if you go into a 3-4, you no longer are re-signing Phylon Jefferson and Solomon Thomas. You're re-signing one because there's only one defensive tackle in a 3-4, just one. You may re-sign 2. You may re-sign Phylon and Quinn Jefferson for when you are in your nickel, but I mean, at that point, you're really just looking for a nose tackle, which Phylon is a good nose tackle.
But also, like you said, a lot of the times, and also they said in the presser, you run a nickel. You're nickel based most of the time, right? We've seen it last year. I mean, we ran a 4-3, but at the same time, it's like most of the time we had Diablo and Perriman out there with Hobbs. That's how Hobbs got so many snaps, and he's a slot corner. So I don't think it matters too much, but I would stick with the 4-3 personally.
Yeah. See, like, you're asking Max to stand up rush like TJ Watt. I mean, I'm not saying he can't do it. I do feel like Max is young enough to do that. But at the same time, Yannick literally said it himself, man. He did not produce in Baltimore because it did not fit his style of play. So you're asking your $13 million pass rusher to now play a system that he literally said he does not feel comfortable playing. So, I mean, there's that as well. Don't the Rams run a 3-4? Yeah, but I mean, you have Aaron Donald.
Have Aaron Donald playing defensive tackle.
So it's a little bit. It's a little bit.
Think about it like this: they had Michael Brockers next to Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Do you think Max Crosby and Brockers are even remotely close to the same? No, they're not. You know what I mean? You can't. They wouldn't play the same position. So you just got to think about it. Max, yeah, and you're essentially saying Max Crosby would be an outside linebacker. Like, I just wouldn't want him to do that. I just wouldn't want him to do that. He's an edge rusher. He's like I don't know. It's just confusing me now at this point. Like, just to even think about changing is just confusing.
In a 3-4, I would be interested to see, because I mean, obviously you keep Perryman around. I mean, there's no reason why you would trade him at all.
Yeah. Either way, either 3-4 or 4-3, you keep him Perryman.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm interested to see that in the 3-4, do we keep Diablo next to Perryman like we did in the nickel? Or in a 3-4, do we put him as an outside linebacker next to like an edge rusher? That'll be very, very interesting for me. Or do we keep him in the middle with Perryman? I feel like Diablo can work in either way. I feel like I think it'll work in either way, but I would like to keep him in the middle more. That's just what I would like to see. And at the same time, it's like you look at 3-4 guys, like I see a lot of people saying TJ Watt, you got Von Miller, you got Khalil Mack. Those guys are stand-up rushers. So it's like you're trying to compare Max Crosby to stand-up rushers. And I know for a lot of people, it may not be a huge thing because at the end of the day, they're rushing the passer anyways. But there is a lot of – it's a big difference in having your hand in the ground and in a 2-point stance. And we see Max at times in a 4-point stance. When he's jumping over the line against the Eagles, he started in a 4-point stance. And then he got up into a 2-point stance and then jumped over the offensive line. Mm-hmm. So it is a big difference. I do still think that Max is young enough, though, that he can make that transition. But
what defense does the Bengals run? 4-3.
They have both.
So multiple.
Mm-hmm. There are multiple.
Because I was gonna say, think about what's his name, Trey Hendrickson.
They had him in coverage a couple times when we were playing. Like when I was watching the film with on my live, I saw at least in the first half 4 to 5 times that Trey Hendrickson dropped back in coverage, which that's why I kind of mentioned, I'm like, okay, well, you have a 14-sack guy dropping back into coverage. Yeah. So it's like, what are we doing here?
So, and that was out of a 4-3.
It was out of a 3-4.
He was standing up?
Mm-hmm. He was standing up and he just dropped back into the flats, chasing down a running back. But it's like, dude, he's 275 pounds. Like, why are you making a 275-pounder chase a running back down? It's like we saw Kenyon Drake exploit a linebacker. What do you think will happen if we have Max Crosby trying to guard Austin Eckler? You know? Yeah. So it's like, damn. You know, so it'll be interesting. But, yeah, the Bengals ran a multiple system. There was times where he dropped back into coverage, and then immediately the next play they'll go into a nickel, and then that's when he had a strip sack on Carr. So it was interesting. Abram, Perryman, Devine, draft the college linebacker for 3-4. Okay. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. I'm not sure, though, that Abram could become a full-time 3-4 linebacker. I'm not sure that he'd be able to become full-time 3-4 linebacker. But at the same time,
he'd probably be the smallest linebacker in the league at that point.
No, I think Jock would still be smaller than him, wouldn't he?
No, Jock is what, 220? Or no?
No, he was like 212.
He was 212?
I don't know, because they might have made him put on a lot of weight when he got drafted. But at the same time, I don't want Abram in this new defense being back there with Merrick. I just don't think he belongs there. Yeah, no. You know, I'm much rather have Tyree Gillespie back there with Merrick. You know.
Yeah. So after watching the presser and everything, though, like, were you a fan before the presser? Were you a fan of this before they even got hired?
I was.
And like, how does your thought process change since before the hire all the way now after watching the presser?
Yeah, I was coming around to it. My initial thoughts to Josh McDaniels was just no. Like, I was like, why would you do that when you got Harbaugh in place, which technically was never in place? We didn't even interview the guy. So that was my initial reaction. I was just so stuck on the topic of Harbaugh, Dodds, and Fangio. I was like, damn, that's a super team, you know? That I was so strung up on that. But then, you know, And then I'm looking at the drafts that the Patriots have. I'm like, well, damn, the Patriots draft been sucking ass for like 3 years. And then I'm looking and I'm like, okay, well, actually, he took over last year as the acting GM. He didn't do too bad. I don't necessarily agree with Barmore only having 1.5 sacks, but that's not a scheme that fits him. And you go out and you see their free agent class, Judon, Hunter Henry, Aguilar, Jonnu Smith, like they were able to get a lot of pieces, right? So I was starting to come around to the fact of okay, this could work. It wasn't my first choice. It was not, but it's here. It's in front of my face now, so it's like you gotta like something about it, right? I'm not just gonna be like, damn, this dude sucks. I'm not just gonna be hearing talking like, oh, shut up, you suck. It's like there's no point in doing that. But definitely I did not like it at first. My initial reaction was just no. After starting to heat up a little bit more and the less I heard of Harbaugh, I was like, all right, this could be a reality. So I need to start changing my opinion a little bit. And at first, yeah, I didn't like it, but I started to come around. And right now, just hearing them talk, I mean, they're both smart guys. They're gonna speak it with the good vocabulary to make themselves sound good, regardless. But yeah, I'm coming around to it now. I'm seeing a lot of good that can come out of it. I still don't know if I think that McDaniels could lead a team. Like, he's a leader of men. I think that he could be a good coach, but I think that it's hard to be a good coach and a leader of men at the same time. I felt like Bisaccia wouldn't have been a good coach, but he would have been a great leader. So it's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird. But that's how I felt about it.
Like he's not. I don't know how to explain. Like, he's just not the full package yet, as far as the maturity standpoint. Like,
I wouldn't say maturity, because
to me it seems like it's kind of his youth. You know what I mean? The way he kind of looks a little bit younger, and he doesn't kind of have that grit on his face. You know what I mean?
I feel like he is mature. I mean, you spend 20 years in New England, you're not gonna, you're not gonna be an idiot either.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, Rich Bisaccia just had a little bit of, I don't know, maybe the players related to him more, and that always helps. I don't know if the players will be able to relate to this guy, but he may be a great coach. But at the same time, it's like you see all these players, how highly they spoke of Bisaccia after he left. It was like they related to him more of a person than they did a coach, So I feel like this relationship may be more football than it is personal, which at the end of the day, that's what they're there for.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, because there's coaches like Matt LaFleur. Personally, I just don't think he looks too much to be like a leader of men. He looks more like a pretty boy to me, But you can't take anything away from him, because he does seem like he is a competent coach, although he has Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. So who knows what's the de facto there, And then you have coaches like Cliff Kingsbury. When I seen him, I'm like, dang, he's gonna be a head coach. Like, he don't really seem to have that grit to him, But they've been done pretty well. He's got a different little style going on. So maybe Josh McDaniels have his own style. And like he said, I'm gonna be myself. And I think he may have been referring to when he was with the Broncos the first time. Maybe he wasn't necessarily being himself. Maybe he was trying to imitate a different coach. Maybe he was trying to give a different attitude and not really relating actually to the players and knowing how, they're still people at the end of the day. So, and I think he touched on that. And I think that's what was most reassuring. And the best thing he could have said that he learned was learning people. He didn't even talk about football. He just said, I think the biggest thing is that I learned people. And I think that was a real reassuring as far as hearing him in the press conference.
Yeah, and I think Ronell just said, he said, you don't always have to like your boss to be successful. Winning will solve a lot of those doubts and woes. That's true, man. If you don't like somebody, but you see that working with them works and you have success, you gain to like them anyways, So it's like, we'll see though. We'll see. It's like it's kind of like with Robert Saleh last year. It's like, damn, like this dude. I think that his just energy, you can do so much thing with Saleh, but then, he goes to an organization like the Jets, and you're like, well, damn, you didn't do shit. So
Like that, yeah, exactly. Like, whoa, what just happened? You know what I mean?
yeah, so it's kind of weird. And then I didn't expect us to make this hire until like someone like today. To see us make the hire of a GM before the Chiefs game, before the Niners game, I was like, hold on, I thought we were supposed to wait for DeMeco Ryans, who, in my opinion, DeMeco Ryans could have been a very solid pickup. But I like this though. I like this, and the reason why I like this over guys like Bisaccia, over a guy like DeMeco Ryans, is because DeMeco Ryans would have had to go find an offensive coordinator. He would obviously take over the defense, but you would also then have to find a GM that would work with him, and you're trying to find more. With Bisaccia, he would have to find an OC, a DC, and a GM, and you're like, whoa, like that's too much. And then with these two, they're just finding a defensive coordinator that they can pick and choose from. Basically, they can pick and choose from Mayo, Desai, Flores. That'd be insane. And then you can go bring in what's his name, O'Brien, Bill O'Brien. So it's like these guys had so much more in place and ready to go. That's kind of why I was so sold on Jim Harbaugh. At first, I did not like Jim Harbaugh. I did not like the idea of bringing in a guy from college to lead this NFL team. I didn't like that. Yeah. But I was like, okay, well, this guy would have an offensive coordinator. He would have a GM, and then he would just have to go find a defensive coordinator. So I was like, that could be a great thing. And then he would just have to go fire recently hired he would just go have to hire recently fired Vic Fangio. And I was like, well, damn. He has everything in place. And then it's kind of the same with McDaniels, but he's just not the big name like Harbaugh. So that's why I started to come around to it.
Yeah, most definitely. And something that it was just something I was thinking about, man. A lot with football I've noticed, something I probably should have realized a lot sooner, was a lot of it has to do with timing, man.
Yep.
Because you think about you trying to find a new coach. Well, certain coaches are available at certain times. So, for instance, Sean Payton all of a sudden is available. John Harbaugh wasn't available. Now he is. Josh McDaniels all of a sudden available. So it just seemed like maybe the timing was right. Blessing in disguise that, look, we had an off season to where we had an actually pretty good pick of the litter when it came to coaches, man, if we really wanted to pursue them.
Yeah, we had
it's surprising. It's surprising we didn't interview Jim Harbaugh, though. That was the most surprising thing. But we ended up coming across Josh McDaniels, and I mean, hopefully it's good in return, man. Hopefully it's good in return. I think our red zone offense should definitely be better. Creativity should be there. Production out of our tight ends and running backs should definitely ramp up. And I think he has more than enough competent of a quarterback to do what he wants to do compared to what he's had the last couple of years in New England. So we should be pretty excited, man. I think it's a good matchup.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like the biggest thing is that it starts with your quarterback. And you look at all the quarterbacks he's dealt with. He didn't need a Lamar Jackson. He didn't need a Kyler Murray. He didn't need a Deshaun Watson. He didn't need these crazy mobile quarterbacks. He just needed a quarterback that would put the ball at the right place at the right time.
Yep.
Guess what? You got Derek Carr. So it's like you should be just fine. And at the end of the day, they would win games and they would put themselves in a position to fight for a Super Bowl. That's all we want. Like, that's literally all we want. So I think that this should be one of Derek Carr's more successful years in terms of touchdowns. Maybe not yards, because he almost had 5,000 yards this year. So,
Reezy says, will McDaniel's personality be too strong for Carr? Brady and Josh had visual heated exchanges. And for me, like, when you ask that question, it's almost as if you just became a Raiders fan today, because as if you didn't know John Gruden was our coach the last 4 years. Like that, like, bro, come on. McDaniels, you worried about McDaniels being too much of a personality compared to John Gruden?
John Gruden.
Every single year we hear some type of stuff like this. Like, bro, we just had John Gruden as our coach, and you talk about McDaniels' personality may be too strong?
Yeah, I don't.
Come on, bro. Give it a break, bro. Give it a break.
I don't think that'll be a problem at all. If anything, I think their relationship is probably going to be very, very functional.
I think it'll be just fine.
That's just what I think. But I mean, it'll just be something new, and hopefully for Derek Carr, this can be his last coordinator, his last head coach that he has to go through before his career is over, right?
Yeah.
Like, hopefully this is the last stop. Like, for him, he shouldn't have had to gone through this process 6 different times. Like, no.
I was actually, they put up a graphic, and it said there's been 22 head coaches in the Raiders' history, and Derek Carr's had 6. So Derek Carr's had a quarter of all of the Raider coaches in history. Yeah, all the Raider coaches in history. He's had a quarter of them. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can get some consistency here with Josh McDaniels, man, because we were hoping to get that out of John Gruden. We knew what happened, but hopefully we can get that now.
And I'm not sure if you had an opinion about what remember. I think it was just like the timing of Josh Jacobs and his tweet and all this kind of stuff. Me personally, I was like, is this even about football? And at the same time, I'm like, if it is, it makes no sense to do that, like, at all. I didn't really like it, but it could just not even be about football. It was like,
I seen it, and I was just trying to figure out how to interpret it. Right? Was it more of like a bad side, like a bad oof, like or was it more of like, oh, we about to be like oof, we about to be good type shit? Like, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know the context, and nowadays how people are passive aggressive, it was most likely a cringe. It was most likely like man. You know, so he definitely shouldn't have done that. I think that's what it was pertaining to, because you just don't coincidentally all of a sudden put that in. I don't know, man.
Shout out to Steven. Carr is the diva that Brady is. I wouldn't even say that Brady's a diva. I just think that Brady's a true competitor. You know, he wants to do anything to win. Anything to win. But I definitely think that Brady voices his opinion more than Derek Carr would. Junior, he says, Brandon Cooks commented game changer on the NFL first post of the Mike McDaniels hire. Do you think he'll be one of many free agents to come to the silver and black? I'm not sure if his contract expires this year. I thought he had one more year on his contract. I thought we would have had to trade for him. Yeah. But I love Brandon Cooks. He's only 28 or 27. He's 1,000-yard receiver when he can play the full year. He's very good friends with Derek Carr. So I would love for that to happen. You know, he's that field stretcher, but at the same time, he's going to want over $13 million. So I'm kind of more in the boat of get your possession guys that can move the chains, and then you got the sneaky guy already on your roster, in my opinion, with Tyron Johnson. He can stretch the field. So maybe don't put all your chips in one basket with a speedster that he has to make that big play every game, or else he's kind of a non-factor. And I think you go after more possession guys that consistently move the chains, strong hands, fight for yards after the catch, that kind of stuff. And then have a sneaky guy on the roster like Tyron Johnson.
Yeah.
That's just what I think.
Yeah, we got to get Allen Robinson. No questions asked, man. You got to go get Allen Robinson. He's that guy. Like you just described him. You know what I mean? Catches with his hands, yards after the catch, great route runner. His game isn't built predominantly on speed. It's built off of him just playing with his body and a good route run. And that's the kind of receivers that actually last in the league.
They can teach Brian Edwards.
And you'll end up, And so Allen Robinson would be a lovely pick. I have to put it out there that I want Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama in the second round. I would love to get Allen Robinson and Jalen Tolbert, bro. And in the first round, we go defense. So I think our wide receiver questions should be answered this offseason, bro. There's no questions asked. It should be answered this offseason.
I feel like especially if a quarterback extension happens with Derek Carr, I feel like you can go even bigger than just an A-Rob. I feel like you can go A-Rob and even add another guy, I know he's one of your favorites, DJ Chark, pair those two guys up. But I feel like I would love to get those two guys and then Amechi in the third out of Alabama. I feel like he's sneaky. He was Bryce Young's #1 target. Over 96. He had 96 catches. Jamo only had, I think, 79. So I think
I'm good off a receiver in the first, man. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean he's not a first round talent though.
I just think there's too many receivers in this draft to go get one in the first. I think we should be able to grab one in the second. And
unless
the only
Burks
reason I
is
say
there.
and the only reason I say get A-Rob, and like you said, I like Chark, man. That was, I mean, I had to put that one out there earlier, way long ago, man, because Chark I had my eye on him. But looking at the cap, right, wanting to have enough cap to re-sign certain players, I just kept thinking, like, man, we wouldn't be able to bring in 2 receivers because that right there would tie up at least 25 mil between the two, at least 25. And then that's like almost a third or a half, depending on how we do it, of the salary cap. Plus, we want to bring back Max Crosby, Renfro, some people Carr, Waller if he wants more money, of course. He's only getting 7. And everybody else that's even around in his world of tight ends is getting 10 more than that. Like the best guys are getting 15 plus, so he might want to get more money. So
I feel like as much as it sucked that Waller had a down year, it kind of saves us though a little bit because I feel like that contract may not even be brought up this year just because of that. He had a down year. But yeah, I agree. But like I said,
plus a guard, plus a tackle.
If Derek Carr gets extended, then you got some money to really work with, like actually, because I think we start at like 41 million. If you let go of a couple of guys, you can get up to like 55. And if you get Derek Carr his contract in the future, you can be working with like $70 million. But that's a lot of ifs at that point. But
free agency starts March 16th.
What? Yeah, I mean, the thing is though, like I said, I feel like if we move into a 3-4, you don't re-sign Casey.
Casey Hayward?
You don't.
You don't re-sign him at all. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be a Raider at all next year.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think so.
That's...
Just thinking about just the Patriots in general, I could see us bringing back if we had an older safety, but corners, I feel like they've always had pretty good corners, and they were youth. They had youth. You know what I mean? Just
because right now the Broncos, their safeties over the top is
to the Patriots,
Kareem Jackson, and who else?
Oh, the Broncos. Kareem Jackson and he's good, bro. Justin Simmons,
yeah.
I don't know why I was drawing a blank. I'm like, I know he's good.
Yeah, so we would need a guy to pair over the top with Merrick. Like we would need that. And I feel like Gillespie could do it, but at the same time, you're like relying on a second-year guy who literally only played special teams last year. Yeah. So I don't know. I
didn't like Tyree too much at single high, though. I'll be honest. I didn't like him at single high too much.
I feel like that's why this could work with Tyree because he'd be splitting the middle of the field with him. You know, so it wouldn't be just him needing to have all the range in the world. He splits. So, and on top of that, he can come downhill and hit you. So
yeah, most definitely. I like Tyree Gillespie. It's just when he was in college. Well, what was it? I think
I just don't want to see Levitt back there.
I don't think he got any interceptions in college his whole career.
I just don't want to see Levitt back there.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Or
it's just I think if we really wanted to do that, Marcus May, bro, like Merrick and Marcus May with some decent corners with Mullen and then get a guy out of the draft, I feel like would be gold, bro. Like Marcus May and Trayvon Merrick would just shut everything down.
What do you think Gilmore's price would be?
I don't know. I don't know because he's old. You know what I mean? And I think he would just stay in Carolina, honestly, because that's where he's from. And I think he would just retire and stay there.
You think so? Because they got CJ Henderson and then they got the dude that JC Horn.
Yeah, JC Horn.
That's not their he's not their future.
Stephon Gilmore right there.
Yeah, like that's not their future. He's not their future at all. So I don't know. I would love to see what his price tag would be.
Yeah, Marcus May got hurt
a
long time ago, and he's going to be a free agent. He'll be fine by the season. He'll be way fine by the season.
He'll be
and
fine
because of that, you may be able to get him for less.
Like a lot of the wide receivers, they just busted their Achilles or their ACL. So, like Gallup, I think Godwin, even the ones in the draft, you got both Alabama receivers got hurt. So I don't know. I feel like the only receiver that you go after in the first round would be Burks. Only one.
That's my number one receiver.
That's the only
my number one receiver, and I got my notes somewhere around here. Shoot, he's my number one wide receiver, though, man.
Because like you said, and I've been saying it for a long time, the receivers that last in this league are not those big play dudes. They're the possession guys. Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson. Those guys that aren't going crazy all the time is because their play style helps them. So Treylon Burks, he can make that big play.
Yeah.
But it's not his talent isn't just relying on being faster.
Yeah, most definitely. One guy I want to talk about is George Pickens. I got him right here in my notes. He played for Georgia. George Pickens slept on. He was hurt. Then he came in the last 4 games for Georgia, and he plays well, man. He has a good swagger to his game. I really like George Pickens. I think he'll slip later in the draft, and we could potentially go and pick him up. National champion wide receiver out of Georgia. High ceiling, man. He has a high ceiling. I think
we need to hire somebody from the Steelers because they draft wide receivers in the 15th round, and they're the number one.
He'll get the best receiver in the generation.
Yeah. So.
Drake London is good. Drake London looks good, but I can't really speak on him. I haven't watched his film yet. And it's funny because that was who I was about to do film on right here. 6'5", 210 pounds, Drake London. I don't got any notes though. I didn't watch the film.
Yeah, I'm hearing that this class is loaded though. So
yeah, it is, bro. David Bell out of Purdue, 6'2", 205. Romeo Doubs, 6'2", 200. But Jalen Tolbert, bro, 6'3", 190. And bro, he got some speed. He got big playability. I think he'd be a sleeper. Him and George Pickens, bro.
Yeah, I mean, when we're talking about a guy like Mechie that's a 3rd round pick, you know that this draft class is pretty loaded. I mean, The man had 1,100 yards, played at Alabama, almost 100 receptions, and he's a 3rd rounder. So
yeah.
Wandale
Robinson, yep. Wandale Robinson's nice. Only way I get him is like later pick if we want a gadget guy. If we definitely want a gadget guy.
I don't think this system needs one though.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so it's like, but this system, it doesn't really need like that true number one if their tight ends are being productive. So
yeah.
But A-Rob, I feel like he's a must. I'm not sure.
Yes.
I mean, what other teams do you think would really be in the running for Allen Robinson? I feel like Gallup, Chris Godwin, and Devontae are the top 3, but I think Allen Robinson would be like, he's gonna be good wherever he goes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some potential landing spots. But I honestly don't know where he'd go, bro. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like we're the only depleted wide receiver core in the league, really. Like you can't really pick a team in the league that has a worse wide receiver core than us. Like who would you say?
I think the Niners do, honestly.
Debo, Brandon.
But Debo, he's fucking quarterback, running back, tight end.
But that's the thing. He's a wide receiver still, so it's like, bro.
Yeah, but I think the Niners, they got nobody though, besides him, honestly.
So would you rather have Edwards, Renfro, Zay, and Deshaun Jackson, or Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel? I'm forgetting both names.
Our core is so trash, dog.
You said what?
Our receiver core is so trash.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
They said the Lions.
They said the Lions. Yeah, the Lions. That's how low we got. Oh my God.
That's how low we gotta be. That's how
that's crazy.
So Derek Carr went to the playoffs with a receiving core of a team that had what, 2 wins?
So the Lions, that's the best we could bring up is the Lions.
That's tough. The Jets. What do the Jets got?
The Jets? No, bro. You're tripping. The Jets? No. Jamison Crowder. They have Jamison Crowder.
Bears,
They
Seahawks.
got
Cleveland.
They got Denzel Mims. They have Denzel Mims, and they have what's the dude's name? Moore.
You can argue the Seahawks if you take Lockett out of there, but no, the Seahawks got way better than us.
The Seahawks were what? DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett? Bro,
I'm not that big on DK personally.
What? That's crazy, bro. Yeah, but all I'm saying is, would you rather have Renfro?
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, at that point, it's almost like, because after Renfro, it's kind of like,
yeah,
that's it. Deshaun Jackson is only his name at this point.
Do you think Allen Robinson would get more red zone touchdowns than Kenyon Drake?
No. Not in this offense, no.
Okay.
Because it's this offense.
So what about, because I just seen somebody, well, you can say the Ravens, but the Ravens don't pass the ball. But
St. Brown from the Lions is good. He started coming up like halfway through the season.
So, I mean,
and he was what, a late round rookie out of Purdue or Wake Forest or
something like that. But him and his brother played the league together. So
yeah, Amon St. Brown. Yeah, so we definitely have one of the worst wide receiver cores in the league. So we definitely got to step. And Barrios on the Jets. Yeah, the Jets wide receiver core is not bad. Elijah Moore, that's his name. Elijah Moore.
Yeah, he's nice.
Yeah, Elijah Moore. I forgot about him.
So,
definitely.
So, what are your thoughts on possibly just going out and giving Calvin Ridley?
I don't know.
He's a good player, in my opinion.
Calvin Ridley from over here, it seems like he's a good player. I just don't really know too much, bro. I can't really say. That's why I never bring Calvin Ridley up. I haven't looked into it enough. Two, I only know he's good kind of from a distance, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
I actually really like Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. I don't think he's a bad player, but also I only know he's kind of good because of a distance. Haven't looked into him. I know he's had some mental health stuff going on. I don't know if that's so much of an issue because even though mental health is serious, it's still somewhat considered, not considered, but I would consider it somewhat of an injury, part of your injury history at this point. Because if mental health is technically an injury, you're having some issues going on and you have to sit out to heal yourself, to take care of your body and your mind.
Ridley is Derek Carr's perfect receiver. I literally think he can stretch the field, but his route running is very good. I like him. I like Ridley.
I don't like Edwards, bro. Oh, Ridley. I thought you were reading the Super. My fault.
No.
Yeah, no, Ridley. No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know enough to really speak on him, bro. So if you think he's good, I definitely take your word. And I don't think he's bad. I just don't know what's going on with his situation. Because like you said, there's Gallup, Allen Robinson. There's a plethora of names. DJ
Godwin.
Who else out of Arizona? The dude out of Arizona.
Christian Kirk.
Thank you. So you feel me? Like there's so many.
Yeah,
that's why I feel like, bro, the draft is lit with receivers. I feel like we just can't mess this receiver thing up, bro. Like there's no way we come out of this offseason without at least two dope wide receivers that we could be like, yeah, we got a cool wide receiver core with Hunter Renfrow, bro. I'm starting to get excited talking about it, bro. Because
we have to do some Philadelphia Eagles shit to fuck this up. But shout out to
Chip Kelly type shit. Some Bill. Oh my God, some Bill O'Brien type shit. Let me not say it.
Oh God, yeah, no. Shout out to Steven, says, I think McDaniels can make Bryan Edwards into a stud receiver. The talent is there. He just didn't get a lot of targets. How many drops did he have? Because for the targets that he had, he dropped the ball quite a bit, in my opinion.
For me, he seems like he's checked out without even being checked out, bro. That's just me. That's me personally. Like he's he's not checked out because he hates anybody or he doesn't like anybody. He's just checked out because he's kind of lost in the sauce or something, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
he may not, but this is the thing. This is what's so weird to me is because I know when Derek Carr says something, he's not just talking out his ass. So when Derek Carr says that he reminds his aggressive route ability and his catching and his hands as Devontae Adams, it's like, well, damn. So there's actually something there, you know. But when you can't get open, and then when you do get open, you have drop problems, it kind of sucks. But for a young guy like him with a new coach, learning a new system, this could be perfect. It could be perfect, right? You're getting a new start. This guy is evaluating you completely different than what Gruden was. So this could be perfect for him, right? So maybe what you're saying is true, Steven.
300 says Edwards' lack of emotion reminds me of Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
that's a good comment right there, bro. Because that's what it reminds me of, kind of like that. I don't know what it is. It's something weird. Like it's something.
You know, the only time I seen him get hyped was when he'd catch a touchdown.
I would say he get hyped when he catches, because I remember he'd truck people and then he'd get up and, you know what I mean, first down, something like that. I just think we got to use him predominantly in the red zone, like you just said. I think that's where we were messing up. Like, why were we not just continuing to do that almost every time we went to the red zone? Because we did it against the Broncos. And who else we did it to someone else later in
Eagles.
the season.
They put him on that when he was lined up on the left with Zay Jones, and Zay Jones did that weird motion. He comes in, quick pass. He got smacked, but he caught the ball. Yeah. And he scored. But the only time I ever see him get hyped would be when he would score a touchdown. Like when he thought he scored the game winner against Baltimore. When he caught that seam touchdown against the Broncos. And that touchdown against Philly, those are the only times I actually seen him have some energy. But after that, I was just like, dog. Like it'd be overtime. He'd make a 30-yard catch and he just wouldn't care.
Yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah, he does have somewhat of a nonchalant flow to him, man. So I don't know if that's just his personality, but regardless, his production is just not proved on the field. So something's got to change up with him, or he's going to probably end up hitting the road, man.
Yeah,
I've been ready to ship him out. You know, I've been ready to ship him out. He was supposed to be the next TO or something like that. But
my comp for him was Dez Bryant, but fuck.
I don't even know what to say. Look, he's just not producing enough. I don't know if Josh McDaniels is going to bring anything out of him. Think about it. They drafted N'Keal Harry in the first round just 2 years ago, and the dude's officially a bust. Like, can we say N'Keal Harry's a bust?
Dude, they wanted to trade him this offseason.
I'm saying though, like, if he couldn't get anything out of N'Keal Harry, then I don't know.
Your comp was Keenan Allen. Where on his tape did it show that he had the route running of Keenan Allen?
I don't think he's a Keenan Allen. I don't think he's a Keenan Allen. I don't know about that one. I didn't see that one.
But yeah, I mean, it sucks less because he was a third-round pick, not a first-round pick, but he got to do better, man. He got to do better.
Bro, this dude, bro, he says Carr's doing Baker Mayfield shit to Amari Cooper. Bruh. What?
Do you know that Odell was like top of the top when he went to Cleveland?
Oh, my goodness. People will say anything. That don't even make sense. Bro, Odell Beckham was Odell Beckham before he even went to the Browns. What are we talking about?
He made a name for himself before he went there.
Yeah, like
Edwards.
He was a big-time trade. Big time. If we trade Edwards today, it's not like he's going to go somewhere else and blow up. Name one guy that's ever done that. Name one guy we've ever had on the Raiders that left. That's a receiver that left and then went over there and just blew up and became a superstar. Please tell me.
You know who they're going to say? They're going to say Cooper.
Cooper ain't doing nothing. They want to trade him.
But look,
the Cowboys are literally trying to trade Cooper right now. They've already put it out there.
I mean,
and if you compare the stats of him,
Randy Moss,
we didn't have Carr. He is right. He is right. if we're not talking about with Carr, but we didn't have Moss with Carr. You know what I mean?
Was good. Andy and Ray was good with you, Chris. No, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
very.
Randy Moss
I
was
mean,
like 13, 14 years ago.
So let's really quick.
Yeah, not all time. I mean, all time, no.
Defensive free agents, really quick. Morrow walks. Solomon, he doesn't walk. That motherfucker gets thrown out the building. Casey Hayward, I think, walks.
Yeah, I think so too.
Roderick Teamer, I think I would like for him to come back. I like Teamer, I do, but I felt like this dude wrote a whole essay for Rich Bisaccia. I feel like he loved Rich Bisaccia so much he might find his way to Chicago. So who knows? But I mean,
oh, you hear Jacksonville was looking at him?
Yeah, I heard that, but
I was like, what?
That'd be a real Jacksonville. That'd be a real Jacksonville shit to do.
No, that's fine.
But
who would be his coaching staff like?
He would literally go out and get Greg Olsen and Mike Mayock.
He'd get Greg Olsen and then he'd bring in Tom Cable and he'd bring God.
Like literally.
Golly. Good luck, Trevor Lawrence.
But it's like, yo, I think that those guys walk. I feel like Phylon and Quentin should come back regardless if we have a scheme change. Who else is a free agent?
No, Morrow's not our best linebacker. I mean,
he was our best linebacker going into the season before we traded for Denzel.
Yeah. I mean, who's this?
Dude, I remember it was so fun last on season when me and you go back and forth about Kwiatkowski and Ball.
Yeah.
That shit was funny as hell, dude. And neither of them did shit this year. But
they both got hurt basically for the whole year.
Like, oh god, no, Hankins. I think. Ooh.
I think he comes back, and the reason why is because he's familiar with the team. And it's not really too much of a.
This would be his.
It's not too much of a hot commodity. I don't know how to explain it.
This would be his 4th year with us if he comes back. I think you bring back Hankins. But damn, dude, I feel like. I don't know. I really just would love to entertain the idea of trading that 1st-round pick for a proven defensive tackle, man. Gerald McCoy.
No, he's out of here.
That's just not happening.
Yeah, these guys aren't bringing Gerald McCoy in. I don't think so.
We're staying in a 4-3. It's possible, but I think that we'll probably go with a defensive coordinator. They can do a little bit of both.
It says Devin Lloyd or Dean might get drafted. Who do you personally?
Lloyd is better to me.
I don't like Kobe Dean. I don't like. I want to say he's bad. It's just
I think Devin Lloyd is Micah Parsons.
I gotta watch Devin Lloyd's tape. I won't lie. I've watched some of his tape, but I haven't seen Micah Parsons' side of him yet.
Freak. He's like he's a freak. I mean, Nakobe Dean, he's your no, Devin White is too much of a comparison.
It's like what in Kobe Dean to me is like what? Like a very good comp to me would probably be would you say DeMario Davis?
Ooh, I mean,
the way he could
DeMario Davis an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
DeMario Davis kind of plays outside, but I mean, it's.
I haven't seen Micah Parsons out of Lloyd yet, but
I like Lloyd a lot. He's probably gonna go top 10.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I like Lloyd more than Kobe Dean. I'm just not a big fan of Kobe Dean, man. I'm just not.
Yeah, but I mean, also he won the Natty, so he's automatically gonna get.
He's gonna get that hype. I just think that defense was good in general.
What do you guys? What do you feel about their corner?
Fuck. I haven't done. I won't lie.
Kendrick.
I haven't really done my corner tape yet.
What do you guys think about Darion Kendrick? I know there's some of you guys that know about Darion Kendrick. Apparently, he didn't give up a touchdown last season.
I mean, Damon Arnett didn't give up a touchdown in his college career.
Who?
Damon Arnett.
But yeah, but apparently he didn't get over touchdown last year, so that's kind of what people are riding on right now with Darion Kendrick. But I think, yeah, I definitely like Lloyd a lot better than Dean. But I feel like
a future Pro Bowler. Man, hell
I feel like
Dean
this.
garbage.
Like,
just because he said that, Dean garbage. Just because he said that.
I feel like if Burks is not there, if Jordan Davis is not there, and who else?
Burks, okay. What about Drake London? I know people like him.
Yeah, but are we going receiver in the first?
But you said Burks. I mean,
well, but Burks is like, I mean, if you pass on him,
he's my number one receiver. He's my number one receiver.
Damn, dog. Dean is sideline to sideline. I see Derek Brooks. Wow, you're comparing him to a Hall of Famer.
Derek Brooks.
He played with the Bucks, right?
And Kobe Dean and Derek Brooks.
I thought Brooks was more like a pass coverage guy.
I'm trying to think. Derek Brooks. You talk about Derek Johnson that played for the Chiefs. That played.
No, I think they're talking about Brooks, the dude that played.
And Kobe Dean is not. Well, I didn't even see that comment.
Dean struggles in coverage.
No, I wasn't saying he is DeMario Davis. I'm saying I would say that would be his comp for a high ceiling. But I don't think he's.
If Burks is there, you got to draft him. But my thing was, if Davis isn't there, if Lloyd or if Burks, those guys are, I would entertain trading back.
I would just trade that mug. Bro. But
yeah, that's what I'm
saying is that the draft is in Las Vegas, and that because it's in Las Vegas, trading away our first round pick doesn't seem feasible. Like it's just not part of the script.
It's feasible to me if you get a what was it,
like a Quentin Williams or something. What about, would you trade the first for a Leonard Williams?
Leonard Williams,
Giants D tackle.
But he's not a defensive tackle. He's a 3-4 end.
He's definitely a D tackle, in my opinion, as far as a 4-3 goes. I'd throw him at D tackle in a 4-3.
What? Oh, well, yeah. Like a 3-tech?
Yeah, he gonna eat. Him. Imagine Yannick, him, Hankins, Crosby.
Yeah, that would be good. But I'm saying he's a 3-4 edge rusher. Like he's a 3-4 defensive end.
Yeah, but I just feel like in a 4-3, he'd be fine at D tackle. I mean, I don't know. He's gonna get to the
way
quarterback.
He's 300. No way Leonard Williams is 300 pounds.
I feel like he'd eat.
But would I trade him? Yes, yeah. Yes, I would. 291. So yeah, he's a defensive tackle.
Oh yeah, 6'5", 302.
Oh, I read 291. But yeah, I would trade that. Yes. Would I trade it for Quentin Williams? Yes. Would I trade it for
I think
Grady Jarrett?
Quentin Williams. I don't think you get Quentin Williams for a first. I just don't.
Me neither. Would I trade it for Grady Jarrett? Yes.
I feel like we could get Grady Jarrett for like a fourth or like a third. And honestly, older. He's 30. He's 30. Plus he
is 30 now.
Let's look up. I'm gonna look up Grady Jarrett's contract real quick.
But
imagine if you had to eat a contract too. You ain't gonna give him a first for a third.
I would trade it for Kenny Clark.
Okay, so Grady Jarrett's 28.
But I would trade that first for Kenny Clark from Green Bay.
15. Oh.
Yeah.
See what
Ed Oliver? No, I'm not trading that.
Nah, I would trade for Ed Oliver, but a later pick. Definitely.
But I would Kenny Clark, yes. You might have
a monster. We'd have to send the first for him.
Who?
But let's go ahead and talk about this is something me and Andy have been talking about since before we probably even started making content, is the Washington football team.
Oh my God.
Lineman, right? Like, yeah, the Washington football team needs to send us a defensive lineman like yesterday. Matthew Ioannidis, look, I will send a first for Daron Payne. I don't even think we would have to send them a first, in my opinion. But Daron Payne, we could get him from the Washington football team. Bro, they run They run a different defense, but he's still, bro. He would work.
I would literally trade a first for either one of those, Deron Payne or Jonathan Allen.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Allen's more of a run stopper. Deron Payne can kind of do both. Matt Ioannidis, I don't understand how he's so underrated.
Underrated, bro. Yes.
Man, we're talking about 8 sacks at defensive tackle, bro. Like, that's literally the sack that Max Crosby had. And Max Crosby's in a Pro Bowl.
Yep. Matthew Ioannidis, 6'3", 310.
But he's 29 now, right?
And he gets 7, and he's getting 7 a year. He's going to be 20. Yeah, he's going to be 20. He's 20.
He'd only be getting 7. That's why, bro. Oh my God.
He's 28 years old. He's on a 3-year, $21 million contract. He's 28 years old. He just turned 28 this month.
And the contract expires at 29 years, right?
Or
30.
Let me see. Sport Track right here. 4-year, 3 years. Free agent in 2020. So he just signed it. I think he just signed it.
So this is the thing, though. With Matt Ioannidis, you may be able to get him for like a 4th. Because I think he had a really down year. He only had 2.5 sacks. But he played 1, 2, 3. He didn't play the full season, but he had 2.5. But the thing is, that freaking room is so stacked. He's the 3rd defensive tackle.
We'd be able to get him for the low, bro. I feel like we'd be able to get him for the low. He will be a UFA in 2023. So this coming year is his last year on his contract. This
Bro, it's only 7.
This
7 is such a team-friendly deal for a guy who gets 8.5 sacks.
Yeah.
And shout out to
28 years old. 28 years old. That's not bad.
And really quick, shout out to AD. Says, my comp for Devin Lloyd is Isaiah Simmons. Ooh. Nakobe Dean is Roquan Smith, in my opinion, and Burks reminds me of a faster A.J. Brown. Roquan Smith, monster. Isaiah Simmons literally one of my favorite prospects to ever come out of the draft. I really love Isaiah Simmons.
That's crazy. He's my favorite prospect too, bro. He played safety in college, but linebacker at the same time. When he made that interception on the sideline in the national championship, that's when it did it for me. I'm like, the Raiders need to get this dude like now.
Like whenever I'm just messing around on Madden, that's the only person I'll trade for.
No, most def, bro.
Or you want to know a very underrated linebacker that I love?
Hold on, don't say it. Underrated. Is he fast?
He's short.
Oh, he's short? Oh, I don't know. It's Holcomb.
No,
who?
He's underrated for his production.
I'm trying to think. He's short.
Dude, he plays in the NFC.
Plays in NFC. I don't even know, man. NFC. What team? Just say what team.
Vikings.
Oh, I don't know. Who?
Kendricks.
Oh, you say underrated. Kendrick is not underrated, bro.
Well, when do you hear about Kendricks? When do you hear about Kendricks?
Anytime you hear about the Vikings defense, I guess.
No, you hear about the defense, and that we were about to Daniil Hunter. You hear about him first, and then you hear about Anthony Barr, and then you hear about Harrison Smith. It's like, bro, Eric Kendricks
Kendricks is a dog, bro. I feel like he get love.
I don't think he gets enough.
But he's good. He's definitely good. Anthony Barr, I mean,
I love Kendricks, man. I would. Yeah, Anthony Barr is a free agent. Yep.
Anthony Barr. I think he's more of an outside, ain't he?
Yeah.
He's more outside. Yeah, most definitely.
More of an outside linebacker, but that's because they run that wild Gunther shit, but they run it to actually like how it's actually supposed to be run. It's cover 6.
Who's the DC?
It was Zimmerman. Remember, Zimmerman ran the defense as their head coach.
Yeah.
But and then last year they brought in Gunther as like some assistant, some shit.
I thought it was like some something.
Yeah. And then my boy Brian right here says Wandale Robinson in the 3rd round. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah, Wandale Robinson. Believe he plays for, I can't think of the team, Memphis or Kentucky. I've watched Wandale Robinson. Where does Wandale go? Memphis or Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
Don't remind me.
But
he's more of a gadget guy. Like he's kind of like, I don't want to say it, but I guess he's like Lynn Bowden. Yeah.
So like Curtis Samuel.
Percy Harvin?
That was before my time.
Oh shit. Running back out of Kentucky. Yeah, running back out of Kentucky.
You expect one man to carry the team? What?
What happened?
I don't know.
Let's see what what are they talking about.
It could be like a little side combo they be having, but
yeah,
I love Kendricks.
Yeah.
But shoot, I mean,
yeah, we talked about Mechie. We definitely talked about Mechie.
Yeah, Mechie's my guy. That's my dude right there. Bryce Young's #1 target.
He said, "Bro, y'all happy with blood?"
He's there, so I gotta be. Percy Harvin was before your time. Yeah, bro.
Percy Harvin, and it's funny because when there was this, I guess Chris Carter has said Debo Samuel. I guess Debo Samuel is a guy is mixed between Percy Harvin and Anquan Bolden, and people were like, I don't get it. And it's like, yeah, you know what I mean, it's a little before your time. If you don't know who they are, you're gonna get it.
I know Anquan Bolden, but Percy Harvin, I knew he was a very good returner as well, right?
Yeah, he was a gadget guy.
Yeah. He said he wanted to be enemy. I think we all wanted to be enemy at first. I went from be enemy to dabble from the
Winston?
Bills.
Oh, the ball, yeah.
The ball, yeah. I wanted him from the Bills, and then Harbaugh came up. Then I wanted Harbaugh, and then reality hit me in the face, and we got McDaniels.
Yeah, you know, honestly, with the coaching thing, now that this is my first like fiasco with the whole having no coach and who do you want as the next coach, it's almost like the next guy was the best guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would hear the next guy and you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy's better. And that's just how it was, in my opinion. You know, you hear about the enemy and then you hear about Harbaugh. It's like, oh, you can't pass up on Harbaugh.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
but then that at the same time though, you kind of look at it and it's like, damn, this was the best choice. Because like you look at the enemy, he got Mahomes to work with. You look at Dabo, he got Josh Allen to work with. You look at Harbaugh where you're like, well, damn, that dude, you don't know what the hell he wants. And then you got McDaniels. It's like, okay, well, clearly Carr is better than Mac Jones. So it's like, okay, this may be the guy, you know. But yeah, I can understand why people want to be enemy. Extremely smart, creative mind. Can Max play and on the inside? What is this, like a NASCAR package? Sure.
I don't think you could play an end on end on the inside of a 3-4. I just don't. I think I honestly think he just got his groove playing in the NFL as a 4-3 defensive end in the NFL. I just think he got his groove this year. The way he was able to step up his game in rushing ability, be able to stand up offensive linemen, long arm them, and hold them in place. I think he just got his groove playing. Not playing, but being an all-around defensive end in the NFL. But being dominant in the pass rush, of course. But now switch him to an end and 3-4, I just don't see it, man. I just don't think
it's kind of weird though, because like with Max, you know, sometimes we try and refer back to what they did in college, but like Max was like fucking extremely undersized in college. So you can't even compare what he did in college to what would it be like playing a 3-4 for him. Because, you know, like for Cleveland, you can kind of look back and be like, okay, well, this man was next to some superstars on the D-line at Clemson.
Wilkins.
Yeah, it was just like you literally could have your pick of the litter that draft on who you wanted from that defensive line. We just chose Cleveland Ferrell. But,
bro,
hey, if we go to a 3-4, I'll tell you what, he'd do great. At least 5 sacks. Max is a DN.
I feel like we got PTSD from our draft picks, bro. Like,
bro, I
every
remember
time
that
the draft
day.
comes around, it's just so suspenseful, and it's just a bunch of anxiety because it's like, yo, who we finna draft, bro? Damon Arnett, Cleveland Ferrell, Jamarcus Russell, Darius Hayward-Bay, Garyon Conley, Carl Joseph.
Yeah.
Like, who we
It
gonna
was.
draft?
I was just so surprised, man. I remember I just got out of football practice. I look at my phone because I know the Raiders finna draft. I'm like, bro, ain't no way you missed Josh Allen right here. And really because right before when it was Quinn Williams, I was like, damn, Quinn Williams went. All right, but we got Josh Allen. Boom, Cleveland Ferrell. I'm like, what?
Bro, I wish we could have gotten Quentin Williams, bro. We'd be in a way different boat, but I mean, it is what it is.
Any word on OC or DC coaches that are candidates? No, we've been brainstorming a little bit on who could be, you know, possible options. You know, we had names of Sean Desai or Desai, however you want to say his name, Mayo, possibly a Flores. If that could happen, that'd be great. And then on offense, really, I just been hearing Bill O'Brien. I haven't really heard much. You know, on defense, you also have another option with Matt Patricia. But yeah, I haven't really heard much for the offense because we kind of know he's going to be the play caller. But most importantly, yeah, I mean, Vic Fangio is still a slim chance. But
I think Brian Flores is just the best DC.
Yeah, Brian Flores for sure. But I feel like I feel like why not just stay over there in Florida and just go to Jacksonville?
Yep.
If they're looking at Bisaccia,
you might as well just let him. You might as well.
Yeah, you might as well just let him rock. You know, but yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and head out, bro. I'm finna get to this wood, bro. This thing been waiting.
Yeah, I was just about to wrap it up, bro. So
yeah, I appreciate you letting me come on, bro. And
yeah, for sure.
To top game with you about this Raiders stuff.
It was definitely
appreciate
fun.
Everybody in the chat. It was fun getting down with y'all, man. I'm gonna blow this wood, man.
Yep. Stay safe, bro.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
And we'll go on for a couple more minutes, maybe like 5 more minutes. It's a fat wood. Hey, bro, he got a lot of stress. Now I'm playing, but yeah, man, we've been on here for almost 2 hours, 45 minutes, man. It was amazing getting to watch that press conference with you guys. For those of you guys that were here for that, and it was even better talking football and possibilities with you guys after, you know, Josh McDaniels, officially our head coach, Dave Ziegler, officially our GM. So we'll see what's their first official move in terms of coordinators. Hopefully they can go out and get a coordinator on offense and a coordinator on defense. So we'll see. The Patriots, are the Raiders rebuilding again or what? No. Mark Davis said it himself. We are not rebuilding. We are adding, and we are taking this to the next level. So couldn't have finished it off any better than that, in my opinion. Raider Nation, this was definitely fun speaking with you guys. If there's any more news, if there's any more hirings today, I'll be back for you guys, probably with a quick video. Probably won't do another live, but probably with a quick video. I know we had a lot of new people in here, so if you are new, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you didn't like it, well, I don't know, dislike it. I don't care. But yeah, do what you do, man. Everybody stay safe. Take care. Have a blessed Monday. But I'm out of here, y'all.